So yeah, I went there, and it's all the pros played. All the Street Fighter 4 pros were there. Guys who had Guinness World Records for various things they'd done in the game, like Zach Bennett and Ryan Hart, and a couple of other people. Yeah, so I'd go and play them every Friday for a couple months until Super came out and fucked everything right up. It was fun. I fucking loved it. It was great. I beat Zach Bennett in one round once, and that felt sweet. And at some point he was watching me play someone else, and I did something good, and he said it was impressive, and that made me feel good. Yep, that's who I am. What I'd done was I was playing a Ryu who did an Hadouken in my face, and I was close enough that I could pull off the Ultra and it would skip past the animation, grab him, and I ultra'd him, and he died, and that felt great. It depends a lot on what emoticon it is and the context of said emoticon. Generally speaking, yes. Well, I don't know if that's true. It used to be true, but maybe I was mellowed in my old emoticon age. Anyone who uses a sticky out tongue or the winking face in a genuine way, yes, I will instantly lose respect for them. But it's certainly not a black and white delineation on whether it's okay or not. There's grey areas when it comes to emoticons. I'm going to preface this by saying I've only seen one episode. Of that episode, the stand-up was pretty good. Okay, I always like it when a comic comes out and it insults the people who have paid money, or at least banked on the idea that they would be in some way entertained. That's good. So the stand-up was alright. But the sketches were fucking abysmal. Everything about Mock the Week that sort of made Frankie Boyle relied on the limitations that were enforced by the show and, you know, by the BBC, by it being on TV on the BBC. So there's this line he's sort of, you know, pushing against, and you laugh at it. But with Tramadol Nights, it was like everything had just been taken away. All those limitations, any boundaries had just gone. And so it's just like, it just wasn't any longer any funny. And the fact he just relied completely on the fact that his sketches would be offensive, and that was the only humour that could ever be taken away from any of the sketches I saw anyway. It was just the fact, oh, this is offensive to some people, not me. It's just, to me, it's just not funny at all. So, yeah, I think that was the problem with it. No limitations. But his joke about Jordan and Jordan's kid is one of the funniest things I've heard from Frankie Boyle. So, like, maybe that makes it worthwhile. But in general, I think that show could have been a lot better. A lot better. He was just... My parents haven't paid for my existence since I lived at home. When I live at home, I get food. That's the extent of their paying for my existence. Right now, they've never been able to afford to help me in my life. I mean, no. When I was away, when I first went around Europe, my dad gave me a bit of money, and I get some money at Christmas and my birthday, but not a huge amount, not anything like enough to live on, £100 or something. When I'm at university, I live on the loan that I get from the government that I will eventually have to pay back. But until then, it's imaginary money. It's like, you know, I square root -1. Do you mean the TV channel Dave? I don't watch TV. It's sort of an archaic form of seeking entertainment for me. I just watch my computer. At home, when I was at home at Christmas, or when I'm at home, I watch Dave with my parents sometimes, because it has shit like QI, which is very sort of, something's on and it isn't making me want to kill myself very much. So I watch it then. other than that, even my parents have a fucking computer hooked up to their TV that they download things on and watch. Even for them, the TV is drifting off. Sorry, hit you in the mouth. Ears even. My mouth, your ears. The microphone is what I'm referring to. So, yeah, that's the answer I said a while ago. I carried on talking. Well, pseudo-solipsism is what got me where I am today, in terms of this is me. I wouldn't be this otherwise. So I guess I'd push that idea, that ridiculous, stupid idea that works a treat, onto younger me. Fuck off. Onto younger me, in the hopes that I would become me sooner and be less timid, terrified, useless, stupid, waste. No. Just to push the process along a little bit more speedily. This message comes from a guy on VU called ShoeFan. And if you go on his page, it has a video. The question is, why don't you ever show your face? And the answer is a piece of paper with the word shame and sad face on it. Which is a bit depressing. I can't actually indulge you, ShoeFan, because I don't own a single pair of high heels, nor have I ever. But I can show you the shoes I'm wearing right now. Here they are. They are, as you can see, remarkably stylish and sophisticated, you might say. Yeah, don't feel ashamed. Shame is a choice that you make, and you can feel whatever the fuck you want to feel about pretty much anything in life if you just put the blinkers on, as I choose often to do. Don't feel bad. Some people like shoes, I guess. Not me, but that's alright. I was actually very conservative in my gobbing. I started off with a fairly minuscule gob stream, which I sucked up, watched back, realised it really wasn't very impressive, unlike the final cut, which is incredibly impressive. So yeah, I went the conservative route of lengthening over time, of about 3 videos perhaps, to the gob I got to, and at which point I thought, if I do it for this for much longer, I will be gobbing on myself. And that's not something I'm willing to do for this cause. So, 0, because I got style and panache with gobbing. It was a stamp from the night before, when I went to see a band. I believe it said paid. Wasn't a barcode as far as I'm aware. The bands that I went to see were including The Carrier, and a bunch of other bands I hadn't heard of. One called At Daggers Drawn, who are really good live, but pretty shit on recording because they like to talk. But yeah, the most notable event that occurred that evening was just looking over, oh, there's a guy taking a piss on the bar. That's fine, that's normal. That's not at all difficult to comprehend, and I'm not gonna stare at the piss, stare at the guy, stare at the piss, stare at the guy staring at me, stare at the piss, look away. No, that definitely didn't happen. Let's tell ourselves that over and over again every night before we go to sleep. No, I don't own any consoles. I have a Wii, but let's not even pretend that counts. I haven't played it. I used it last night to watch iPlayer because my computer was broken, but it's fixed now, so let's calm ourselves. I don't own any consoles because I have a fucking PC is the answer to your question. The only thing that would draw me to a PlayStation 3 is Red Dead Redemption, and I'm still entirely holding out. I would never buy a console for one game, or really out of principle any game, because I don't like the restrictions that consoles have put in place on games and the way in which games are made, and everything about consoles I am essentially against. So, no. I think that any good physics lecturer or writer or narrator should certainly inject some form of romance into proceedings. I mean, I think one of the main reasons I'm studying physics is because of how much I like science fiction. That is their sort of driving force. I am romantically involved with physics. It's not just a hard factoid scenario. So yeah, but on the other hand, some people take it too far and are generally loathsome. People like Brian Cox. You can probably see him around YouTube acting amazed and enthralled and just how he would never say fucking. It's just so cool, you know, physics is so cool, and he really wants to get that feeling across anyway. This is basically a bone I have to pick with someone you probably haven't heard of. But yeah, in general, let's get some romance involved. If you asked me this question 5 years ago, the answer would certainly have been yes, but that was because, and I thought about it a lot at the time, it was essentially because I had nothing to lose at that time in my life. Now, I have things to lose, and people are very annoying to me. People's habits and people's strangenesses, even people I really like, it grates on me like no other thing in the fucking world. And I remember I was listening to a radio program about somebody who'd basically, they're in a small location and they were isolated because it was incredibly cold outside or something. They were doing some research, and he was just talking about how much everybody's tiny little behaviours in general, quirks, just slay you. And I feel like that most of the fucking time, and I'm not in a small, isolated location with other people. So yeah, I think it would probably be a bad idea and would end ultimately in me committing suicide, and that would just muddy the place up with blood. Perhaps. No, let's take the cyanide option. Point being, it's still tough for me to say no outright to, and it's very easy for me to cast it off when it's just a hypothetical. It's still appealing. If I would come back, then quite possibly, but I would go insane. Of course I saved Rex. What kind of monster do you take me for? If somebody tells me they didn't save Rex, I instantly don't like them as much. It's just a factor of that person that has become apparent. That is, you know, it's not up for discussion. Kaiden or Ashley? I think I saved Ashley? I don't even remember, those people were so unappealing to me. I had no business with either of them because I cared so little for them both. Did I destroy the robot? Is this Mass Effect 2? Yeah. Yeah, I kept him. How can you destroy shit? How can you, like, kill things? Unless they're incredibly annoying. Kaiden and Ashley, fuck, fine, kill them. But Rex and that robot, no. Just stop being such a monster. I do everything in my power to not have any destruction involved in any hard drive situation. Last night I spent a lot of time transferring files in command prompt to an external, not an external, but it was acting as an external. It was an internal hard drive, sort of on the floor next to the computer to which I was taking things. I spent a lot of time. I have a lot of stuff that I don't want to lose. Archives. No, I have never had urgent cause to destroy a hard drive. Keep them. Keep them all. Hoard. Digital hoarder. That's fine by me. Am I limited to a blunt object? Because that sort of puts the kibosh on the whole weapon of choice situation that you have propelled toward me using this website. I would use my bow and arrow, but I was thinking about it, and actually I only have 8 arrows, which probably wouldn't get me very far. I don't think they'd be very easy to extricate from a brain. Plus, well, I don't think bow and arrow would even work that well against zombies. You need some sort of blunt trauma. Bow and arrows mostly kill through loss of blood, which a zombie doesn't give a fuck about. So, I guess I'm fucked. Huh. Well, fortunately for me, I'm incredibly bored of thinking about zombies and playing against zombies. So, by the time it becomes relevant, I will just be tired of it. As I am now. Bored? I'm fucking bored of this shit. I care not, due to my immense boredom. So that would be my weapon of choice. My blunt weapon of choice is my own boredom at the whole genre. I'd say the Elusive Man is undeniably a baddie. They set him up pretty much as a baddie. It seems quite transparent. If he ends up not being a baddie, then I'll be interested in that. That'll be an interesting development. But I don't imagine, nothing ever really interesting happens in a game. It's by the book and as expected. But there's room for that. At the end, spoilers! At the end you're given a decision that's, you know, do this or do this. That's what decisions are. I just highlighted that. Point is, one of them is sort of, you know, do this for science. It's kind of bad, but do it for science. And the other one is like, no, just don't do it. Just blow the shit up. It's bad. I went with the do it for science option because I felt like I like that. I like doing things for science, even if they're slightly controversial. But then by the end, it was just made it clear from everybody's absolute disgust that I'd done the baddie thing that the Elusive Man wants me to do. So before I play the next Mass Effect, I will go back and change that choice. That's something I don't like about Mass Effect, is the pure dichotomy between like good and bad, and it's what I don't like about the way Dragon Age is going. But that's a side issue, and this is now in the Too Long region. Yes, maybe he's an android. The Elusive Man was good, but it kind of felt like I'm going into the Martin Sheen room now, and it felt a bit tacked on, and that was a little bit disappointing. But Elusive Man, foe in terms of the story, but I kind of enjoyed him, and whee! More enjoyable, I have to understand the motives of this person. This person's motives have to corroborate in some way with my own. This person is not a sort of cardboard cutout of several other billion humans. There are a lot of those. I meet them, and you look at them, and you realise that you've met this person before, many times, and this person is a bit annoying. But this person has shaped themselves to be that person, for some reason. More enjoyable. Other things that make them more enjoyable. They have knowledge in a niche sector. They have similar defining interests. They are funny. Unenjoyable. Just general idiocy is an unenjoyable factor. Loud people often are unenjoyable for me personally. But really, I mean, I'm quite, as I recently highlighted, I'm rather an irritable person. So somebody can be unenjoyable for me to be around just because they happen to be eating a sandwich in a way that displeases me. But those are sort of minor in the scheme, but not in the sort of current location of sandwich eating. But in the scheme, that can be overlooked in terms of a friendship. That's okay. Minecraft is something I don't understand. I don't claim to understand. I perhaps will never understand. I understand what it does. I understand what people do in it. That's about as far as it goes. It has passed me by, but I'm very happy that it exists. I'm very happy at the response it has garnered. I'm happy that this dude has managed to sell a shitload of copies of this game that he made without even using any sort of digital distribution platform. It's just like, hey, does anybody want to buy my game? Lots of people say yes. Cool. That's really awesome, and I hope that it happens more often. Go, go, go. Something that I'm ashamed of, but that I'm going to admit to you and anyone watching this. I was once fished. Yeah. Not in an okay way either, in a really stupid way, but I was playing Anno 1404, and at the time my Steam account kept signing me out. I'm not going to go through it because it's fucking retarded. Point is, I was fished, and they stole my Steam account, and they had my Steam account, and I emailed Steam, and I didn't get my Steam account back for 3 days. And those were tough days, not just because it was like, I want to play a game, but because it was like, shit, I've spent so much money on Steam, and it's all, I can't get to it. That is fucking bad shit, but fortunately Steam are very good at dealing with that sort of thing, and I had it back, as I said, within 3 days. But if I actually lost my Steam account permanently, it's not just, like, as I said, it's not just the games, it's the fucking money. Gee. I don't know what I'd do if I lost my account. I'd email Gabe Newell, because he's a nice guy, and hope for the best. Please God, may that never happen. It was indeed Diplomacy, but I haven't played it yet, so I can't tell you. It's a gift to a friend who's sort of not in London, but might be soon, and but was not here long enough for me to give it to him. So I'm hoping, well, he's going to come back, apparently, and then we can play Diplomacy. We can all play Diplomacy. The only advice I can give you is stolen from a friend who stole it from a friend. Sign a contract with you and your friends. I know this is too late now because you asked me this question a few days ago. Hope you're all fine and alive. Yeah, sign a contract that states you will not bring up anything that occurs in the game in your real life because it will destroy your friendship. Sobering and promising advice. Okay, so this was a comment I made in reference to the PS3 and why I do not own a console. Consoles restrict development of games in that you, as the console player you may be or may not be, are holding... Okay. You are holding this. This is what you have. You have forward and kind of around and kind of shoot. Okay, you have shoot. That's good. You got shoot. That's fine. You're a bit of a spaz. You are kind of crippled by this stupid setup. This setup means it's not good for you when things are actually on different levels and somehow interesting and not a corridor. Okay, so games that are now developed for consoles are then shoveled sideways onto a PC. Well, I have this equipment, and this equipment. And this equipment in particular makes a big difference to my viewing angles and possible shooting zones. Much more interesting games, much wider games because of the processing power that is available to PCs that is absolutely not available to the closed platform consoles. And it means games like Crysis 2 are being destroyed because they're being limited to a space like this, and you walk down a fucking corridor and you shoot some shit that's there and there and there and there and all on the same plane as you. It simplifies. Another console question. I hope this doesn't like jar my face around like a fucking retard like the last one did. Didn't do that to the audio, I just felt the need to do it myself. I actually wrote an article all about Dragon Age 2. It's strange to me when people don't know this. I guess I don't publicise things very well. I write for a website called ready-up.net, and you can read my shit there. Advert. Dragon Age Origins is good because, as you say, it has some layers of grey. I like the conversation structure in Dragon Age. I really enjoy it more than some people do. Pointless caveat. So it feels somewhat, you know, it's not a well-defined avenue you're treading and you're taking paths on a thing. Fuck. Like in Mass Effect 2, it's just like, here's a little picture denoting something good. Here's a picture denoting something bad. Which you gonna be? And Dragon Age Origins isn't like that at all. It's very subtle in that regard. Whereas in Dragon Age 2, as you obviously know, they're bringing in this fucking shit system that they had in Mass Effect 2. Wherein everything you say is very clear and everything is delineating you to one side or the other of a coin. And that's very annoying, and there's lots of other aspects about that game that I find super annoying. Which I have written about, and you can read it. Yes, I am interested in films. Important S. I don't like favourites though. They are something that overwhelm me to think about. So I'm just going to list some films I like, and probably some things that I might put on the list would be in that list, but it is not necessary that they would be doing that. Yeah! Onward and Fistacular. Dr. Fist. No. Yes. So, There Will Be Blood, one of my favourite films of the past 5 years. I said it. Favourite. Primer, one of my most enjoyed sci-fi films about two nerds who build a time machine, very appealing to me. A Single Man, I saw it very recently. I would say it was one of the best films of 2010, but that may be because I didn't expect what I got from it, and what I got from it was awesome. The Illusionist, also another 2010 film that I saw, that was very good and worth watching. Animated off the back of Triplets of Belleville slash, what's it called? Belleville Rendezvous, depending on the country in which you reside. Really good. You should watch it soon. Once Upon a Time in the West and The Godfather Part 2 are very firmly planted in a sort of generic manner. And those are some films that I have thought of, and now my mind is gone blank, and I am blank, and my voice is blank, and my face is blank, and I am blank, and you are blank, and we are blank, and goodbye. Not really excited. I find it very difficult to get excited about any sort of AAA game that is on the horizon, just because I assume it has been in some way tampered with and ruined, a la Dragon Age 2. So yeah, I guess it's more like tentatively observing. I'm sure it's going to be everything Mass Effect 2 was, but worse. And by worse, I mean worse. Okay, lowest common denominator. Watch it go down. It's the numerator is even increasing in order to truly ram home the difference. I don't know. I hope not, but I'm sure that it's just like this further increasing attempt to turn film games into a filmic experience that sort of ruins everything games are into a very streamlined, on rails kind of feeling. Everything that Mass Effect 2 did to simplify Mass Effect 1, I expect that again. So it just sort of becomes a gelatinous goop of uninterestingness. A bird this morning called the little boy Ned, raised him on the banks of the riverbed. Houseboat tied to a big tall tree, home for my papa and my mama and me. 3 o'clock, Papa jumps to his feet. Already Mama's cooking something to eat. 1/2 past, Papa, he's ready to go. jumps on the pier heading down the bayou. He's got fists and minds strong across the Louisiana River. Gotta catch a big fish for us to eat. Catching, setting traps in the swamps, catching anything he can. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Ba 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 boo boo. Something like that. Guys make me feel like Mass Effect is the only game I've ever played. This is referring to Mass Effect. P.S. I don't have a crew yet. I only banged Thane. I was gonna bang the chick who's sort of the PR chick, who's pretty nice. But I blew it with her quite early on, and then she stepped right back, and I couldn't quite reach her. And then all of a sudden she was totally into me, and I was like, whoa, shit. And I sort of said, no, I'm gonna do Thane. But now I regret my choice. I'm not really someone who'll go back and play the game again, except obviously to repeat and change my end decision, as previously mentioned. But that's a regret I'm going to take to the grave. My parents are pretty much impressed with whatever I do ever. They don't really push me academically. The only way they have pushed me is, other than that, it's all dandy. I don't think I've ever got anything for Valentine's Day. Feel free to send me a shitty e-card. I think this is actually the worst thing anybody has ever said to me. Somebody asked me in a thing on here if I'd ever been offended by anything, and I didn't reply to it, but the answer's going to be no. Until now. I'm offended. Fucking mortally. I think that guy's a giraffe disser of unforgivable proportions, and he needs to go and say that to a giraffe's face and just see what happens. What a dick. All this meta, other people, incesticide is making me feel a bit sick, but Darbot is super fucking cute. Like a cartoon character. Good human. I like watching her talk and be alive. I get angry a lot without noticing. I sound very angry sometimes when I'm not angry in the slightest. I'm just saying something unbeknownst to me. It's coming out in a sort of rage-laced way. It means at university people talk about rose rage and sing a song about it sometimes. And like earlier on I was in a lecture and I just asked the lecturer if he'd written something wrong on the board, which he had. I said, is that supposed to be? And he said, yeah, sorry. Apparently I sounded very angry when I asked this. And I wasn't angry in the slightest. All the time, people say, calm down, Rose. And I don't know. In a way, I don't dislike it because I think it's quite funny. But it's also very odd to just feel entirely normal and then somebody tell you that you seemed really agitated and angry and like overbearing when that wasn't the intent. So I don't know if I'd change it though. I feel like that's an aspect of me. The accidental rage. So maybe I just change everyone else so that they know that about me. That's not the question, is it? And that's very arrogant. Change everyone else to fit around me. That's my answer. That doesn't even work. Dogs are much better than cats. No contest. I'll take a dog, please. Chicken, thanks. Beef is good sometimes. Like roast beef that is rare is delicious. And there are occasions on which I would gladly take that over its chicken counterpart. But on average and in general, I will take the chicken, thank you. Tea or coffee, fuck you. Let's not even think about trying to choose between those two. They are very different genres of things, despite appearing initially the same. No dice. Thanks. Fuck. Internet friends. Similarly. I love that word. Do you notice? I don't know if it's a word. Carry on using it regardless. I really like the internet, but Friends are really entertaining. So let's just skip on past that. Stingray or Captain Scarlet, and the Mr. Ron's answer is entailed in my question. Inception or Shutter Island? Inception, although I did enjoy Shutter Island. A lot of people hated that film. I thought it was alright, I guess. Wine or spirits? I don't drink. I'll have some lemonade. Thanks. I'm almost certainly shorter than you. I remember complaining about my height to my granny, and she said, "You'll be glad about it when you start meeting boys." You know what? No. I'm not glad about it. I look like a joke. I'm 5'3", which could be worse. You know, it's not quite midget status, but it is bordering. And I do feel like I'm a little too underwhelming or just funny. Either way is not good. My shower is annoying me hugely. The way you control the temperature, there are 2 taps going to the same shower, hot and cold. You know the drill. You know this. And in order to get the right temperature, i.e. not scalding and not entirely freezing me to an icicle, you have to sort of tap the tap. You have to tap the tap. I'm going to say that and not think of another word because I don't think there is one. You call it faucet, I guess, maybe. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, you might call it faucet. I would call it a tap because this fine land is where I was born and raised. And you have to tap it so gently to get to the right temperature because every slight tap, the resolution on this tap is obscene. Like 10 degrees per micron. And it makes it very hard to get the right temperature and just be like, I'm cold, now I'm too hot. It was easier adjusting the lens of a laser in order to make it laze than it is to fucking control the... So my shower is annoying me every week. Every week. I actually intend to play diplomacy with 3 males, one of whom is my boyfriend. So get at him. I don't think I'm going to be very good at this game. I played Neptune's Pride, which is about you have a flight of ships. It's an online web browser game. I recommend trying it out. You have a bunch of ships, and you fly from planet to planet, star to star, planet to planet, and you attempt, well, what you do, you go and fly to the star, and you take it, and then you build your armies slowly. Usually I build them too fast, because I'm like, shit, gotta have a fleet, when no, you should really be upgrading your economy and other surpluses. This is going dreadfully. I would usually stop and record it again, but instead I'm just going to say it, and then possibly delete it soon, because I look like a raving spaz. Yeah. So in this game, I played it in the usual manner, which I play games. You know, okay, I'm gonna go take this, battle with this dude, cool. Oh, I'm wiped out. Every time I was wiped out, it became apparent very quickly that what you absolutely must do in this game to survive is talk to the other people, make deals with them, bargain with them, work it out for a little while, and then just fuck them over. Carry on. This is what diplomacy is. But, I'm not so good at the old interfacing option. I quite like the just brute force approach. And that didn't work well in that game. I don't think it's going to work well in this game. I think I will be sunk. But I'll report back at a later juncture when I have played the game. Hey, where's all the hostility coming from? I know. I've got a good idea. Let's go and find a nice fire and sit around it, and maybe you can bring out the old harmonica and give us some tunes, and we can have some chats occasionally. Cozy. The coziest you could ever expect in a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland. You know what? I've never mentioned that ever, because it didn't happen. You have confused me with somebody else. That's not okay, is it? No, it's really not. I'm based in the UK, where I've always been based. Except when I was about 3 years old, we lived in Spain for 6 months. How do you quantify reality? Come on, Francis, tell me. Is it the summation of how you have been at any point, summed over the number of points there have been? And then, that's me? Tell me. I'm all ears. I don't know, it's not... I act like this sometimes. It's kind of obviously come from me. It's a part of me. The way I'm acting right now is definitely me being that way. It's an aspect of me, but like, made more potent. I think I talked about this in this exact way before. Sure, it's an aspect of Real Rose, just as is and would be everything I ever do. I'm sorry this is such a late response, but I think a late unicorn is better than no unicorn. So, alright, here we go. A bit of trivia. You know that a unicorn's thing. But you know how only only virgins can tame unicorns, right? That's because the unicorn becomes so filled with lust that he can't keep away from the from the fucking virgin. Because, well, let's just say that he goes up to her and lays his horn on her thigh and gets down to business. Right, here is this super fucking... What do unicorn tails look like? I have no fucking idea. There we go, that looks realistic. I hope that makes you happy. I'd rather sing it in the style of Bonsai Buddy circa 2001, because that shit won't leave my mind. Irretrievably burnt on the fucking skull. Daisy, Daisy. Bonsai, you ain't my buddy. Filling my screen with purple annoyance. Give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy. Much like everyone in the fucking world, I like Johnny Cash a lot. I like most things he's done. But his personal file is definitely my favourite, with the old covers and the old stories and the niceness. This is a difficult one to answer because I've only seen the series once. I haven't rewatched any of the series. So I don't think that's a valid basis. But I'll just say the first one because that might be true. It's more likely to be true than the most recent series, let's say that much. What I really liked about Mad Men was the subtlety. There was no fanfare of this is this, and this is this, and this is clearly this. Does that make sense? I'm being quite vague. The problem with talking about things like this is I begin to feel like a bit of a prick. So I'll say that much. But the most recent series was just about It just seemed to go off in a complete opposite direction to what I felt made Mad Men really great. So it was all about Don Draper's secret diary, general weird slapstick that didn't work and felt weird and awkward. The only thing I liked was Sally Draper jerking off at her friend's house. That was the high point of the series. So I hope that season 5 returns to its previous form, but I don't know. I feel depressed and quite sad about season 4 of Mad Men. I hope it gets better, but I also doubt it a bit. Come on, prove me wrong, guys, please. I studied psychology briefly and was kind of dismayed at the whole thing. On the level I was on, it was all about remembering things, essentially. That seemed to be what a lot of a psychology learning curve involved, just memory tests. I don't know, maybe that changes. But psychology for me is one of the lesser sciences. But bear in mind, I do consider every science that isn't physics lesser, because that's the kind of person I am. But yeah, psychology, unless I like the sort of literal hands-on application of psychology, like, you know, get the fingers in the brain and do shit and see what happens. I like the neurobiological side of psychology a lot. But not so much into the rest of it. Sure, it's a science, kinda, but not very convincing, and I think quite open to bias. Sorry. Basically, yes. There's this air of superiority about physics and physicists. Lecturers, during lectures, will, like, you know, just casually downtread any of the other sciences, just, you know, without even thinking about it. The mere mention of chemists gives rise to a whole series of sort of jibes from any given lecturer. It's the same thing, and it's quite difficult not to find hilarious. And I'm buying into it just because it makes me feel good. You know that Darwinism existed before Darwin, right? And everything previous to this point has led to you existing and me existing and us existing. And if that is predicated on the fact that only assholes and jerks reproduce, that means that is necessity for us to exist now, here. Do we all suck? Maybe you could argue yes. I think the degree of suckdom is quite a constant throughout history. It's easy and depressing, but easy, to think that we're on a downward spiral. But if you look back throughout the previous decades and centuries, you'll see people saying the same thing over and over again, complaining about the youth of today, wherever you are at that point in history, and I think it's much of a muchness. But I hope that. I kind of think it and I hope it. I'll assume you're talking about YouTube. I don't know, I'm assuming that from the get-go. My decision all hinged around the fact that I was bored in my bedroom one day and there was a camera there. That was the extent of my decision. It's something I do when I'm bored. I also like watching some other people on YouTube, so I liked donating to the sea. Am I surprised? Yes, I'm incredibly surprised and weirded out by it, but at the same time it doesn't seem real in the slightest. It's numbers. To begin with, when it was, you know, below 100, it was like, whoa, this is a lot of people. But as it gets bigger, it just gets more and more incomprehensible, and I don't know, it doesn't really, I don't really think about it very much, just because it's not something that comes into my head, and it's just weird. So, yeah. The way I treat a person depends entirely on whether or not I like them. Somebody can be really stupid and likable at the same time, or somebody can be very clever and also very unpleasant. That's the way the cookie crumbles, as I'm sure you're aware. So it depends more on that than any sort of absolute smartness. Or, I don't know, you're less ascendant. What does this mean? I'm taking it to mean in terms of smarts, the smarts. Those are the smarts. Still talking. How about that? Soul-crushing disdain is available to those who require it. Yes, I most certainly would. I think voiceover work would be pretty awesome. I just don't have the right voice for it, I think. My voice is kind of dual-layered mumble-grumble-ness that isn't ever used, and I don't think it's useful, which is a shame, because I would be thrilled to do anything like that. It'd be awesome. Hum. In what regard? Maths is, for me, harder than physics, even though it's entailed within physics. The thing is, physics is the literal application of maths. Physics is kind of where maths becomes useful. Otherwise, it's a kind of pretty abstract world, which I have a great amount of respect for. But, basically, maths is entailed within physics. Maths exists in that realm too, and it's very necessary. And very fucking hard. Okay, chemists and biologists are probably more useful to the human race than physicists. They make things and discover things and realise things that mean we get to live longer, like considerably longer, and that's really useful to physicists and humans at large. So, in that regard, they're pretty good. I'm glad they exist. But on a more personal level, biology, I don't have much of an interest in. The guts and organs and shit. No, thanks. I like neurobiology, as I keep saying, it feels like. Chemistry. They sort of talk about things in the same way physicists do, to some extent, but they sort of dumb it down a fair whack. So, how much more can I say about this without it becoming inflammatory? Probably not a lot. How are they relative to physics? Don't really know how to answer that question. Hope I accidentally did. I'm a little bit torn on this one. I feel like writers exist and existed, you know, not in a small capacity before there was such a massive amount of undergrads and whatever studying English. It's one of those things where it's not a necessity, it's not a prerequisite to writing a book. So, I love books, I like reading. If it means that more books are written and they are good, then good, I'm glad about that, and it's obviously something worth investing in. For me, I feel like it's quite an indulgent degree to pick because it's like fun. But that's just the way I feel because of what I've chosen to do. I mean, you know, nothing can stay fun really when you're studying it. It kind of ruins it a little bit. So I don't know. Because I've picked such a sort of hard degree that is actually really applicable and useful in life, it means I've developed a bit of a hardline approach to like art subjects, which I feel you don't really need, and it's kind of weird to pay so much money to do that when you don't necessarily gain. I'm sure you gain things, but at the same time you can do a lot of that stuff without being told how, and that has a lot of value to it on its own as an untaught sort of autodidactic thing. So, I'm torn. I don't know how to answer the question. It's happening a lot. It's a bit shit, isn't it? No! Who are you? Are you stupid? What's wrong with your head? It's something I'm pondering right now. Is, you know, this question has given rise to a very much more serious question of, are you okay? And what are you doing to help fix yourself, because you should be doing a lot. I'm worried. I'm not exactly the right person to ask on this subject because I don't like MMOs. I'm sort of intrigued by some, like Eve, which I see Earthrise as being compared to. There's nothing really about Earthrise on the internet that I can find because it isn't really out yet. There's some videos and some people saying, are you excited? Yes/no. So my thoughts are I probably won't play it because it's an MMO. Eve doesn't attract me because it seems incredibly grindy, and that's just kind of what MMOs are entirely based upon, the grind element, which doesn't appeal to me in the slightest. Newton's first law is probably my favourite. An object will remain in motion unless acted on by an external force. I'm not that, it doesn't give me a massive boner or anything, but I quite like inertia. I don't know, I feel like to a certain extent, bands just accept it. Whoever they appeal to, whoever is coming to their shows is representative of something that they are. Like, I went to a show fairly recently with this sort of band, and the singer was just between every song just banging on about something, and in between one of them he just decided to sort of have a bit of a go at the audience and just started saying like how everyone here looked the same as everyone did in America. He didn't know why, maybe it's the internet or whatever. It's like, I don't know what you expected. I don't know who you expected to come to your show. Like, I think he sort of had this idea that he'd come to England and everyone would just be like a very earnest miner or something. I don't know. It kind of annoyed me, actually. Who you are, you've attracted these people. This is the kind of people who listen to your music. What you can do about it? And he also had this weird go at people saying for bringing their girlfriends and saying that they were all sitting in the back holding their boyfriend's coats. I didn't see that. I didn't see that happening. Anyway, it was weird, and if you're a band, you should probably just accept whoever's coming to your show. But if I was in a band and I thought my band was good, and the audience was populated by jerk-offs completely, high saturation jerk-off count, then I might feel a bit annoyed. But, you get what you're given. They give you money, so shut up. I think it would probably be pretty awesome, but Rockstar are annoying to me because they don't bring things to the light. They don't bring things to the light side. They just stay in their squashed box, the little boxes under TVs. Why, Rockstar? Just bring it to me and I will love it so much more than those wastes of spaces. Come on, I want to play Red Dead Redemption and I want to play LA Noire. But apparently I was being told that they have hired a studio for a port job. So please bring it to my fine land. Please bring it. Hang on, so you're saying you've done an English degree and a physics degree, really? I don't know whether to believe that. If so, I'm impressed. But I mean, I think that within physics there's a shitload of stuff that you have to learn that is not instinctual in the slightest, and you have to have so many tools at your disposal that you have to just integrate into your mind to have always. And I just feel like the amount of knowledge that you need to be siphoned into your brain and then retain far exceeds that of an English degree. I'm sure an English degree is hard, but I think physics is probably harder. If anybody else has done both, please talk to me about it. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. But, I don't know, I think the lack of, I stand by what I say. I don't really know much about this guy other than he's the Unabomber and good at maths. If there's a good book about him that you've read, let me know. But yeah, I very much enjoy those kind of stories. There's the other guy, the Russian, who's, I think it was like last year, he discovered something that mathematicians have been struggling to find for centuries or whatever. Three-dimensional manifolds, something like that. And that's very appealing to me indeed. The fact that he refused the $1 million prize by saying through his door that he has all he wants and refusing to leave or do anything about it. So those kinds of people are truly assets to society, and very, very nice to know they exist. Yes, but I feel that if you do any sort of arduous task for a long time towards a certain goal, it will probably help you, regardless of what that thing is. It's just that a degree is recognised by employers and they see that you've done it from that fact. I'm sure it does help everyone, or most people, but at the same time I'm sure it doesn't help a lot. I'm just getting flooded with these questions now, after saying what I said. I like art. Shit, yeah, art. Cool. I'm not, an absolute Philistine. I just see that it can happen and be around without the need for a degree. The same can be said of anything. The same can be said of physics, obviously. It's just that very much. You take a lot of steps in a short period of time that you can then leap off of, whereas with art, I feel like it's not necessarily particularly helpful for you as a creative individual to be told this is how this person did it and this is how this person did it about a lot of different people. I think maybe that hinders something. But what the fuck do I know, huh? I'm just this science bitch. Somebody called me that in this topic. There's this American guy I know. Every time I see him, this topic comes up, as it seems to have now happened on this website. The last time I saw him, he said, "Hey, it's you, science bitch." And that was his opening, and also our closing. I try to ignore him, but he just keeps coming back. He keeps coming back from every party. I don't really know what shuffling feet together is. I'm trying to visualize it, but I'm not getting anywhere. I have been told that I run in my sleep like a dog, which I don't like, and sort of choose to deny. This question overwhelms me. What is it that I do with my life that's a big thing? And I feel that anything I could possibly say will be underwhelming and ultimately depressing. I'm tempted to lie, something about orphans. That gets a good response, or so I hear. As it is probably clear by now, I'm on a physics degree. It seems to be coming up a lot recently, and I even wrote it on this page, so that's perhaps a irrelevance at this point. Is that something I'm doing? That feels like the thing I'm doing, and every other thing is just a side quest or a helicopter. I can fly a helicopter. I do fly several helicopters simultaneously on a regular basis. That's another thing I do. I play games, although not so much lately. Been slacking. Don't have a go-to game, which has given me some jip. I've been reading more, which is considerably on whack. Go to see films a lot. Sometimes I go and see bands. Recently been going to a lot of weird parties. Varying degrees of weirdness, but the weirdness always very apparent. I'm sorry. Nothing I can say would make me feel good about myself, so I'm just gonna stop it here. You're on the internet. You know that, right? Everything is very easily obtainable and free. But casting that aside, you can download OpenOffice, which is like similar to Microsoft Office but free. Don't know if you know about that. I'm not actually entirely sure if it does grammar check, but it certainly does spell check, which is one thing. Otherwise, the internet for free. Be the avail. I'm a very great fan of Battlefield 2. I played it the whole of the summer, that it came out pretty much non-stop. I mean, it houses everything that is good. It did house also, unfortunately, the fragmentation of communities. It was sort of the beginning of that, in a way. Expansion packs that just meant people splintered off into their consecutive, and that sort of kind of ruined it a little bit. Which nicely DICE are doing, /EA, by releasing a pre-order bonus, which includes 4 maps or 6 maps or something. Not cool. I'm a very great anti-pre-order boni kind of person, especially when it's shitty things that are already fracturing things, and meaning, because I'm not pre-ordering it, I won't get to play those maps, so I'll be sectioned out of a group of people who will be able to play those maps. I mean, I probably won't pre-order it. Maybe, possibly, maybe. I don't generally pre-order games. Haven't pre-ordered a game in a long time, but if Battlefield 3 is as good as Battlefield 2 and doesn't seem to be giving up too much to the Black Ops / just Call of Duty as a franchise now as it exists, God, then it's possible that I'll pre-order it. Basically, yes, kind of excited, but also, fear and trepidation haunt my every step in that regard, as is the way with a lot of high-budget titles, / all high-budget titles. But I really hope it's great, and I hope it's like Battlefield 2 and not at all in the slightest, least bit, like Bad Company 2. When I was 19, I went Europe for a while, and I stopped off a festival called Flufffest in the Czech Republic, and I had a lot of fun when Bane were playing. I mean, that's probably the most fun I've had at a show. Seeing Bane, being at the front, getting crushed, and jumping on the stage, and everyone else jumped on the stage, and it being very fun and just feeling good. That's probably my best. Probably the best concert I've been to, but it's not really a concert I've been to, it's just a band that were playing at a festival I was at. And I mean, they're not particularly sophisticated, but they are very fun, and I do enjoy them. But I've been to lots of other good shows also. I was using it to describe something facty, and I see now clearly, by the use of definitions and Google, that it actually means something that's thought to be true based on the fact it's been in print a lot, but isn't actually necessarily true or at all true. That's pretty weird, pretty good. I like it. Thanks for bringing my attention to it. I've had quite a few people asking me this, so I put it in the side, in the biography section, because sadly, it is a part of my life. It's not sad at all. It's a fucking great channel. Check that out. Yep, there's an awful lot of links to various JPEGs and picture-like files in my message box. So thanks. Happy Valentine's Day to you too, whoever you may be. Whoever's watching this, we all give a shit, I'm sure. I didn't really want this to happen. I wanted you to give me a reason, or some kind of insight into why you thought it. And heads up, I am pretty bad. Pretty bad. I don't really like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I like that. Tangent. It signifies the ascent into adolescence and adulthood of Tim the Tall-Time Tailor's middle son, and all the tragedy and joy that lie therein. I actually sung it at that level so that I could reach a higher note later on. Bum, 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 bum. But then I fucked it up, so it became irrelevant. And one of my favourite songs is Singable. A valid concern is as follows. Okay, ready? Not one more word tonight between here and there. I'll put a distance the size of the ocean. Now this heart can be skipping rhythm as the current carries me. I almost drift away far enough to forget that when it comes you cannot hesitate. And when found, I will write an account and seal it in an envelope addressed to your last known residence. Whoa, whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, oh, oh. And we sink and we drown, and what is lost can never be found. Days, arms did swim till the lungs pull in, and panic was lost in a deep understanding that you will see what is wrong with everything. What is wrong with you and me? To make all the right reasons to fuck it up. You gotta fuck it up, whoa. Gonna run out of time. There it goes. Goodbye. This question is a funny. I don't know. My nails have the colour on. That's the thing, right? And I have hair that kind of goes down to like here. That's the thing that chicks do, I guess. What else do chicks do? I have vitamins. They're multivitamins with iron. Gotta promote the gender confusion. It's what keeps me going, quite frankly. Little known / somewhat known fact, I was Rosie until I hit... There wasn't really a specific age. Basically, I was called Rosie as a kid, and was a Rosie. And then people started calling me Rose. This is such a fucking interesting story, isn't it? Wow, I feel great. I feel like one of those people you watch on VU, and they're really fucking boring right now. So how can I inject some interest? My full name is Rosemary. That's even better. That's really bringing the interest to newfound levels of banal. Yeah, no, please don't call me Rosie, because it's not my fucking name. My name is Rose, even though it's really Rosemary, as previously mentioned. Don't feel like that have fitted into my first-person shooter list of games I play. I'm rather peeved about it, because they've gone to shit, basically, and that's a bit sucky. As mentioned earlier, I'm hoping Battlefield 3 will be a good addition. Red Orchestra 2 will certainly be an excellent addition. But I mean, other than that, keep saying I mean. I very much like RPGs when I can become involved in them, but as I said, my attention span is just this fucking tiny speck of a thing. But I very much like Stalker. I've played Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl for some hours, and it's one of the most impressive games I've ever played, even though I haven't played it enough. RPGs give you more, but they occupy more of your brain and more of your time, and I don't have that to give when I've got all the homeworks in my mind and in head and due tomorrow and the next day and exam and whatnot, which is a bit shit. But so yes, I also play puzzle games. Bit shameful, but I do that sometimes. But yeah, first-person shooters win, and I can't wait for Red Orchestra 2, and I hope none of you can either. There's a very odd thing about me they've chosen to publicise, bearing in mind I mentioned it in one video briefly, and I think even specified that I have neither of those accoutrements to hand, or even within the, 100-mile radius. I hope I'm not coming into contact with too many disappointed people, of whom you are maybe one. I'm sorry. I might not be able to live up quite to how I've been presented, but I will endeavour to not be that person. Okay, I assume we're talking about games in games, because that's as far as my knowledge extends, certainly. My favourite and go-to gun, if it's available, is the AK-47. especially in Counter-Strike Source, I find that it's the gun that is right for me. I really like what it requires as well as what it possesses in equal measure. If we're talking World War II games, I choose the MP40 or the MP44, and I also really like the bar rifle. Like in the old Call of Duty games, Call of Duty 1, I was very, very loyal to the bar rifle quite often. Yeah, but AK-47 I will say, because it's true. I'd be very interested to see them. Can you like upload one that looks the most like me, so that I can jerk off to myself? I guess that doesn't work, does it? No. Age just sort of tends to melt together when you get on a bit. Yeah, I guess I was 21 or something. You can see me in the pictures with blue hair at the front if you care enough. No, not at all. I'm entirely amused by the troll contingent and all of their constituent parts. There's a great many constituent parts of said trolldom, and not even necessarily attempting trolldom, just happening upon it, almost perchance. I think it's awesome and funny. I don't feel bad about it at all. I come here at procrastination o'clock. Oh look, it's time for some procrastinatory oratory. Hi. I'm on the cliff. The abyss is over there, and I'm just willfully throwing the minutes away. The valuable minutes. The more valuable they are, the more I enjoy just throwing them away. It makes perfect sense. I have a midterm tomorrow, so I'll probably be here throughout the day at various intervals whenever I feel like maybe I'm getting slightly close to being productive and successful in life. I'll be back, so here goes. I have seen it and I didn't like it. I didn't expect to like it, but it was also worse than I thought it would be. I knew it would be sort of various degrees of douche chilling throughout. I don't like Michael Cera, but then I didn't like anybody else in the film either. It had a sort of tepid vacuousness about it that I didn't expect. It was just a bit of an empty film. It fits in the same category for me as Juno and Garden State, but in a less abrasive way, just because it's just so nothing that it couldn't really offend me. It was just like, this is bad and quite boring. And I found the video gamery quite forced and unenjoyable. And I like games, and it just didn't convince me. It felt like Edgar Wright was old now, and sort of attempting to relive an old person's view of what it would be like growing up in America. Didn't like it. I feel like string theory is sort of a fairly advanced branch, not a branch, but just a fairly advanced Sudoku. It's like something, so it's like a puzzle game that they're all doing together, and you can match things together and oh look, this works. I've made this happen, and this is a framework that I've invented that works. But how useful is that when it's so untangible? I feel like if they all used their minds towards something slightly more based in reality, in a more direct manner. I mean, obviously they think string theory is entirely based in reality, but I mean, if they were working towards something else, then maybe we'd get something more out of it. There might be considerably more to be got out of that, out of not string theory. And as you say, it is a religion essentially, because there's no way to prove it, and people are, I mean, it's based on maths obviously, but there's so many competing alternate theories, it's too abstract for my taste. But they can have their fun, that's alright, I guess. Do you really feel like I need another outpouring, another aspect of me on the internet? I feel like I'm slightly over quota as it is. I'm not about to initiate a whole new world. You can close your eyes, because it ain't gonna happen. If I had more time, if I had a degree, then I expect I'd do something else. I do other things, but you can't know everything. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm not as much of a dick as your average cat is. In my day-to-day life, I am not liable to acting aloof to the same extent a cat is. I have my aloofness at given junctures, but I think overall it's counterbalanced by a lack of aloofness. So I'd say no, I'm not a cat, due to my lack of aloof. Right now, England is treating me to a swath of grey all over my face via my window. It's not too cold, which I will give a thumbs up for. Thanks, England, for not being too cold. But last night you were a little bit too cold, weren't you? The day was quite nice, there was some sun, but then in the evening you just punched it home and I was a bit chilly, I must say. England, that wasn't a treat. I hope to be treated more by England in the coming months, owing to the fact it will soon be May, my favourite month. Overall, England is treating me at arm's length, and I can see a single magpie at the moment over there, which doesn't make me feel good. Fuck you, England. Fuck you. This camera is a Lifecam VX1000 that I got for free after opening a bank account. Not a great camera. The microphone in it is appalling. I use an external microphone. Wouldn't recommend it, but if it's cheaper than the others, I guess it's alright. You can see what it's doing, basically. And for my YouTube videos, I use this, which is a Creative Vado HD, which isn't HD, it's 720p, but it's okay. It'll do me. I didn't know English accents had even the vaguest appeal to Australians, but I guess you learn something new every day. Vitamins, is that... okay, vitamins. Americans say... I don't know, what do they say? Australians say vitamins, I think. Is that right? Yogurt. That's funny to you, I suppose, if you say yogurt, or yogurt, then yogurt is a bit weird, kind of funny. I can appreciate that one. But book, really book, what is there to be said about that? I don't know, don't understand that. How do you say book? Maybe I'll go and ask you to say book. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, well, I don't tend to spend top dollar or anything approaching top dollar for graphics cards. I usually wait till later in their life cycle when they're slightly cheaper. I usually like to pay around £150 for a graphics card, and at the moment, the thing that fits that is the 460, which is a good card. But I think I'd prefer to wait a few months, maybe a bit more, until the 560 or the 6950 go down in price. But I'd probably prefer to spring for the 6950 if it's moddable to the 6970 still, and is easy and with a very tiny number of brickable fences. But it's difficult for me to say at the moment because I'm not researching it myself, because I have no immediate need for it. That's just sort of general sourced information. So think about what you need and what is your budget, and if you can wait. All those things are very important. Yep, I sure would. I mean, it does depend slightly on the context. Do I have to kill this person to then eat them? If it's survival in that I have to kill them to eat them, probably not. But if there is a person who is dead and we're like, hey, that person's dead and we're quite hungry, I'd eat them then. Or if they got a bit sick maybe and it was for the best, maybe I'd eat them then. I have no problem with eating a human. All I know about Australia comes from the TV show called Neighbours, which you may have heard of. I don't think it's as big a deal over there as it is here. But I tuned in recently only to discover that Toadie is now a thin guy, which I don't like. I think the whole show is now wrong. Something is amiss, and it is Toadie's immeasurable weight. What else did I learn from Neighbours? There's lots of fires in Australia, lots of natural disasters that lead to lots of interesting relationships, let's just say. Everything that ever happens in Neighbours originates from some sort of natural disaster. That's my take on the whole show and the whole of Your Fine Land. I'm not really into Trainwreck. When they were playing, I might have been down in the giant pool realizing I couldn't swim. The good bands that I was most excited to see about. What? That didn't make any sense. The bands I was most excited to see and the bands that I enjoyed the most were Rain, Daitro, Ossitot and Mort, don't know how you say that, Death by Stereo. They were the most fun. Eamon Ra as well. Eamon Ra were really good. Those are my favourites. Hello, I'm an American, and I'm an American is about to point out a thing that you guys do, you Americans do, from the American's perspective, so that maybe it'll actually do something and change the way in which you refer to the British accent. The British accent does not exist. What do you think that is? There's England. That's what you mean, an English accent. There's Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. It just gets messy. You don't want to be referring to those people. You mean an English accent. And I see throughout the internet and throughout media, people refer to a British accent. It's silly. That doesn't exist. So, when you complete your English accent, I expect you to henceforth refer to it as such. Good job. I like abnormal psychology as long as it sticks within the realms of something in your brain is fucked and you have some form of difference that means that you do these things. I like that. I don't give a fuck about you were molested as a child, you had something burnt into you when you joined a clan at the age of 7, a sheep molested you. That was a little bit too Izzard, wasn't it? I can't take it back now, I'm not gonna record it again. So yeah, as long as it doesn't get faggy. There's a picture I see get used on the internet from time to time. And it's a I think it's a dual picture. I just tried to look for it and I couldn't find it with great immediacy, so I quit. Yeah, that's the way the homework's going. Also, so there's two pictures and it's of a horse in both instances. And in one, the horse is just happily running, and in the other, the horse is like magnificently tripped up and just sort of flailing, and it says something like, I don't know, I just love that picture. It's amazing. I hope that you have or will come across it at some point in your internet career. Internet stalking is a weird concept. Like, you're just looking at something people have put on the internet, or a person specifically has put on the internet. I do that. I don't feel like a stalker. Depends the extent to which you go, I suppose, but generally speaking, I think you're giving yourself a little bit too much credit, giving yourself the stalker moniker. But I'm glad you had fun at New Year's. Ain't New Year's swell? Actually had quite a nice New Year's. But generally, they're pretty unswell. So I said that, but then I realised and you're still talking. Such is the way. Weirdest, most impenetrable requests I think I've ever gotten. You get the regular requests that are, I want to see your feet. Please show me your feet. Generally involving a smiley face of some description, just to, it's not creepy. We're friends. I just want to see your feet. Smile. That's a regular conversation, and that's why they do that. But there's another one on here at the moment. Show me your underarms. That makes a bit more sense to me. Like, maybe there's some sort of underarm fetish going on, or maybe they're just hoping to catch a glimpse of something else. Fine. I understand. I won't do it because it's a bit weird. But this one, I don't know. I don't know if there's some sort of fetish thing there. It seems, if there is, it's a little bit broaching insanity. I think it's actually just like liking the idea that I would do that because someone has this person has told me to do that. Please elaborate further, if you can. Me either. This is the second time I've been called a bigot in a week. And it's the second time I've been called a bigot ever also, so I'm sailing the boat bigot this week and I'm enjoying every last lap of ocean on my face. Bigoty face. I think the point to make here is that the guy who asked me to do it is American and referred to it as an American accent. I believe that's pretty standard. However, in Britain, nobody would refer to the way I talk as a British accent. And also, throughout England, there are many different accents. It's just when you say British accent, if you mean the way I talk, that's not used here, so I consider it invalid. Bigots boat. So it's like shoe on head, next generation. It makes sense because shoe on head doesn't require much. People will do that without really questioning it, just because they think it's a bit of a laugh. Bit quirky. Whereas with something like red marks on the face, you have to first have a red marking tool, and then, you know, the likelihood of somebody having the red marking tool and then also doing it on their face is quite small, which makes the screenshot a bit more of a trophy. I think that makes more sense. Ireland isn't in Great Britain, but it is in Britain, and you spelled Britain wrong, and I've said Britain a lot. Well, I'd just gotten up from a failed nap, and I had an exam this morning that went a bit shit. Gibbs Energy, who gives a fuck? Who? Not me. 19.9%, because a lot of questions are really boring or really stupid. No offence to anybody. Although feel free to take the offence, because it is there, if you require it. This is a difficult one, because I'm fairly ambivalent to both of those people, and the question doesn't actually say I have to shoot one or the other, but I'll take that it does. I don't really understand the popularity of either of these people. I think because they're quite English and deemed as clever. I suppose that's reason enough in this day and age. I would shoot Stephen Fry, because although Richard Dawkins hasn't donated much to the world for me, he has written a popular book about atheism that's probably challenged a few religious people to rethink their beliefs, and that's worth something. I react really badly. I can't handle it in the slightest. It just makes me feel uncomfortable and a bit bad. I can't even really take the compliment on and feel good about that. I just feel so aware of the fact I'm quite embarrassed and probably a bit red and just not enjoying the general atmosphere of that situation. I think my annoyingness is basically, it revolves around what I talked about on here before, which is that first of all, I can seem like I'm really angry when I'm not, but also I can take things very seriously when they're not supposed to be serious. And it can escalate situations to untowardness just because I'm unnecessarily bullshit about it. What else? I know it's difficult for me to say because I'm around me all the time and used to everything. I'm just trying to think of things other people have said. So yeah, I think those are the main things that make me annoying. I try very hard not to have any of the small habits that I find annoying in other people, just because I'm so intolerant of it. I'm really aware of it when I do it. Although the bouncing leg thing I do a lot, that's probably annoying. But as soon as anybody tells me to stop it, I will stop it, just because I can feel, even if they're not particularly angry, I can feel my own anger at somebody else annoying me in that instant, so I will stop it. Yeah, I think that's the best I can give you, but someone else can probably tell you many more things. I rather like this question, but I don't know how to answer it. What do you think's wrong with me? What is it about me that is peculiar to you? I'm alright. I'm an alright guy. Not a very relaxed guy. I'm quite an uptight guy. Tell me about my peculiarities, because I want to hear some shit about me. I think the most masturbatory experience outside of actually jerking off is probably reading a book that's been written about you. So I guess I'd pick that, but a statue of me would be pretty sweet too. So, depends how good the book is and where the statue is, I suppose. Microphone. Hello. Is this on the right thing? No way of telling. I haven't used MATLAB. I've only used Mathematica from old Wolfram. It's alright, I'm fairly ambivalent towards Mathematica. It does its job. As to how MATLAB makes me feel, maybe I can fill you in on that at a later juncture. I guess this is because I put relationship advice in my thing, and as such, really have a duty to answer this question. I'm all yellow, like a Simpson. Okay. He said you shouldn't go out, can't go out, because he's a shit boyfriend and you'd only end up fighting. He's trying to put you off because he doesn't really give a shit, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But you ask me because I'm the sage when it comes to relationship advice, so don't go there, sister. The sad fact is that what really makes me excited at the prospect of going to America is all the things I could possibly eat, all the burgers, all the Burger Chain burgers, and decide which is the best. I see people arguing on forums about them all the time, and they post pictures of them, and it's like, oh, and I want to eat them. And that, I feel, would primarily... I'd love to visit America and travel around America, but the food gets me excited. The giant portions, the niceness, the lack of shame. It's all attractive, and I will return a heifer. I didn't know anything about it. I went on the website. 7 or better is referring to penis length. You'd say you enter your penis length, and then the chick decides whether she wants to date you based on that number. What a weird idea. Who had this idea? I mean, obviously I'm fine because I'm way over 7 inches. But what about, you know, common decency? Are you the same person who's been asking me if I like Radiohead once per day for the past 11 days? There's a lot of it going around, and I've seen it around the place as well. There's this Radiohead fetishists. Or just one person, one interested person who just fucking loves Radiohead. Questions for your questions. Radiohead are okay? When I was about 15, 16, I fucking loved the Bends. I still really like the Bends, and I still quite like various Radioheadities. Their new album is a bit weird. He's just a little bit grating, a little bit of an abject jerk without any sort of humour about it. I think the lack of humour is my main complaint. And the way he turns up in programs. There's a program called Animal Autopsy, which is great. It's a great show. They cut up animals like a giraffe. They will cut up and they will look inside it, and it's interesting and nice, and you learn things. But then Richard Dawkins will just pop up out of nowhere. Hi, I'm Richard Dawkins. By the way, this proves that there is no need for intelligent design, and God doesn't have to exist for this animal to exist. Who invited you, Rich? You don't seem very relevant to this program. Don't worry, I'm not even saying anything. It's like an in-the-closet gay man telling you all about how gays really aren't great. Richard, it's okay if you have some religious tendency. I don't. You can. And no one's gonna mind. It's like he's overcompensating a little bit sometimes, and I find that funny. But, maybe if he had some sort of sense of humour, and, you know, wasn't quite so annoying. Okay, advice on this subject is a weird one to have to give. If you see me somewhere, probably be a bit better if you didn't say anything, because it'd be a bit weird, make me feel a bit strange. But then again, if you're just going to stare at me and make me feel like a incoming rape victim, then maybe it's better to say hi. I'm not weird, I just know you on the internet. Regardless of how pleasant you may or may not look. I think generally I lie in order to de-awkwardify or change tack in a conversation rather than any sort of malicious purpose. It's just a tool. I guess I lie to some people if I don't respect them and I'm bored with the conversation, and then I might just throw in a lie, an obscene lie, an absurd lie, and just see what happens. But even that, I'm more likely to just walk away. Maybe I'm lying to you about it though. Huh? Huh? I think that. Hair. No hair. Even though I look unfortunate as fuck with no hair. No hair, I'll wear a hat daily. Some form of scarf. Tell people I've got cancer. Bullet dodged. Infinite cancer. Teeth are pretty expensive. Kind of a hassle to get replaced. Kinda no. Kinda shit. I'm really tired and I should be doing some work right now. Some form of work and not this. Not this. Oh, I think you've wasted a shitload of time that you're never getting back. I think that time should have been divided up equally between numerous other worthy games, and not just funneled down the neck of Blizzard. That's what I think. Click, 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 click. Maybe Gabe should get a VU and then you could ask him this question. Why have you said Gabe, huh? I ain't Gabe. I appreciate what you're saying though. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. And I'm slurring my words. Oh, Jesus, why am I doing this? Fuck! Continuing on the relevant path. Yes, episode 3 is greatly anticipated in every section of this head and heart, as previously mentioned. Heart is included. Ink heart. With heart. But Portal 3, 2 even, will be good. There ain't no doubting that. I find it difficult to even get excited about it though, just because I know it's going to be great. Lately I've been going to parties and having fun at other people's expense. Mockery? Yes. Mockery. And the game of, oh, they're listening to something shit on Spotify. They've been listening to shit things on Spotify all night. Let's sneak onto Spotify and put on something else, like Bon Jovi. Or, this is the better one, Jurassic Park theme slowed down 1,000 times. And just watch the fallout. It's the truth. People are asking me why I keep rubbing my face. It's because it feels so fucking great answering this question they won't see. The old LHC, LH Sizzle. This is pretty fucking open-ended. What aspect of it would you enjoy my discussion thereof? Might be going to go see it in the summer. Go and watch it being all big and shit. LH Sizzle, my old friend. I'm not big on the Blizz. The MMO quest to take over the world isn't something I like. Something I also dislike. Even though I don't play StarCraft, something I abhor is their Battle.net system and the way they've regionified it. It's just, it makes no sense to me. That's what's annoying about it, and it's just ruined the competitive aspect for a lot of people, and that's really shitty, and just seems to be doing nothing other than shooting themselves in the foot slightly, when StarCraft is supposed to be, well, it's one of the most popular esports, the most popular esport in the world. So why have they done this? I don't know. Initially, I thought maybe it's just so people actually buy versions for every region, but I don't know how likely that is. I think it's more likely to put people off than it is to encourage them to buy more than one copy. So I've played some Dawn of War 2, very small amount, some StarCraft 1, very small amount, because real-time strategies are not my immediate cup of tea. They require some dedication that I'm just not willing to give, and I can't get over the initial hump, so I just back off. It's something in my future, I feel. It's something that I think I could apply myself to if I didn't have other things to apply myself to, so maybe when my degree is done, I'll play some RTS. So, none of this really answered your question. One day, maybe it will be StarCraft 2, if I ever find myself in that, over the hump. I'll probably play the new Diablo game. I think that's almost a certainty. But not much of an intimate personal connection with Blizzard. I think that water levels and escorting other humans are two of the most frustrating aspects of a possible video game. And when they combine, as they did in Resident Evil 4, where you had to take Ashley underwater, that, off the top of my head, was incredibly frustrating, so I'll just put that in here as my answer. The first issue is contentious even within my own brain, so I don't know how it is with you. It's evolved over the years. Now I drink a lot of Pepsi Max. I'll say that, to avoid confronting the issue. Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? Lord of the Rings. I like Star Wars. I think it's good. But Lord of the Rings is much further embedded into my soul. Gaming or sleeping? The thing about me and sleep is that if I don't have it, I very much can't enjoy life on any level. I'm a bit of a wreck in that regard. So my ideal situation is gaming during the time I should be asleep, and then sleeping during the time I should be awake. But that can only happen in the summer, really. And soon enough, never. Well, no. No, because I'm going to have a fucking great job that entirely fits around my own life and what I want to do. Yes, 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 yes. So, I didn't answer that question. Moving on. London or Brighton? London. Ketchup or mayo? Eesh! That's a dreadful dilemma. Both mixed. Haha. Definitely didn't avoid answering that question, just cheated. I'll say mayo. Blonde or blue? Blonde for now, blue for back in the day. And Shaun of the Dead, because Hot Fuzz, for me, didn't hit that many buttons. Nor really did Shaun of the Dead, but when I watched it, I enjoyed it more.
While I do have a massive light behind me that is the sun, what I'm more concerned about, other than problem sets, is that I have an exam on Monday about quantum mechanics, I have an exam on Tuesday about electromagnetic waves and optics, and I have a lab report due also on the Monday about the Hall effect in germanium. And problem sets. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I don't know what it means to be too heavy for gravity, but I'll just assume you mean having a heavy head. I would obviously prefer to have gravity-defying arms, because you just have to hold them down by your sides and get pretty bulky. Whereas, if you had a really heavy head, it'd probably fuck your back up significantly. I don't know if I can get much bulkier than this. Like, but we'll see.
Too young for what? I'm about to be 25. That means I can do anything I want in the world. I'm a fucking grown-up. I liked Kenan and Kel, but I feel like, rather faggily, I got more out of Sabrina. Don't know why. I just watched it and enjoyed it, and it was on at the right kind of time in the day for me to just watch it and be like, Sabrina, nice eye. Whereas Kenan and Kel was good too. I enjoyed that as well. But it had rather less to it. I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for people having magic talents. I really liked The Secret World of Alex Mack, I think it was called. Bad show again, but you got some secret fucking powers. That's pretty rad. I'll take your show and watch it. Fight Club or American History X, not sure. I've watched Fight Club many more times than I watched American History X because I was 15 or whatever. And I saw American History X a number of years later. Bish, I'll have to watch them again sometime. Well, watch American History X again at least once. Well, once. And then I'll be able to answer this question, but until that day. Whispering or shouting? I can't shout. I can whisper, but I don't need to because my voice is really fucking quiet. So the intermediate stage, which is more close to whispering by a long way than it is to shouting, is the answer I will choose. Doesn't fit the frame. Being alone or being in a group depends entirely on what you are endeavouring to achieve and do on that particular day. Overall, throughout my life, on average, being on my own, but the group sessions are required to do some things that are fun. Blip! To some level, I like racing games like Dirt 2 and Grid, which have some level of realism. And I like the sort of unwieldy nature and how you actually have to be good at it and hone a skill and not just point in a direction and go there. But generally, I'm glad they exist in all their various forms. That's very interesting and nice and pleasing to me. How many people play, train simulators and stuff like that. I like it. But it's not for me, I don't think. Not that anyway. Maybe other things. I think if I try a game and I like it, that's retarded. I think it's quite possible for me to like any form of simulation game, though, as long as it isn't too homogeneous, like driving a train for hours. Not cool. Don't do that. This is my procrastinatory time to do with what I will, which is this, which is wasting time, abyssal waste of time. Hello. And then you come plodding in with your doom. Thanks, hi, nice doom you got there. I like your wares. Oh wait, no I don't. I was doing this to avoid eye contact with the Word document sitting quietly, impendingly in my taskbar. Hey. It's not okay. It's just not. Sure man, but just send over your sister first so that I have a model on which to show you. I don't really have an answer for this because I'm not really sure how I would answer it or if it's even a question. I just felt like it was important to recognize it as something worthy of response. Well, I guess I've got the anger in hand now, thanks to someone. Yeah, cool. Nice. But yeah, I will actually do it now. Maybe. I've got these. And they can soften the blow. Just like Oreos, I can just line myself with Oreos. And then any, like, impact will be marginally lessened by just the crunching Oreos, and then I'm good to go. Labriparto! Oh, probably someone loud and obnoxious. My chair's rather low. But I'm drinking lemonade. Everything in my fridge smells like cucumber, including the bottle that this came in. Sip! I don't even remember there being questions about my blue hair, but I just assumed they were there and I didn't really register them because I found them boring. But since you asked and haven't at all defined what it is you'd like to know, I'll just assume you want to know why I don't have blue hair anymore. Well, I had blue hair from the age of 18 to 22. I had blue hair for 4 years. I got quite sick of it. I got sick of the process of doing it and the process of repeating doing it because it washes out. And one summer I had kind of purpley hair, and then I went out in the sun a lot and it bleached it. And I liked it. So now I have this hair instead. I have to do what I had to do anyway, which is bleach my hair in order to make it blonde. And then to make it blue. That's what I had to do before. Now I just don't have to make it blue, and it's much easier. And another question in my box is about if I'll ever go back to Mousy Brown. I don't really want to do that. I think it makes me look like a mouse even more, and in an unsatisfying, unpleasant manner. So blonde for now. I mostly listen to gaming podcasts. I don't really do much else, although I am intrigued by Guardian Science Weekly and may check that out. So the podcasts I listen to, my favourite podcast ever is called Idle Thumbs. They have a great back catalogue of gaming podcasts that you can read, but unfortunately they stopped making podcasts because they all got successful or whatever, and now they can't do it. Other than that, what I was listening to the other day was the PC Gamer UK podcast. The American one is annoying, but the English one is sort of like listening to a bunch of TF2 nerds talking about a different game, and I quite enjoy that. Gamers with Jobs is another good one. I used to listen to a 1UP podcast, the only good one, but I can't remember what it's called, and it stopped existing about a year, 2 years ago or something. But yeah, I'd be very interested to hear any other podcast recommendations, even though I don't really have the time to listen to them. I sort of like to listen to podcasts when I'm drifting off to sleep, so I tend to miss most of what happens in them. But, yeah. Maybe in the summer I can do other podcast avenues, I can do them. Okay, you're very right in this. I do set high standards for others. From the get-go, before I even really know who they are, which is possibly not helpful for them and our further relationship if they fail to meet those standards. But alas. And the same it goes for me. I am horrible at beating myself up about everything. Mostly related to not doing work and feeling like shit about it, but still not doing work, and then not getting the grades I feel like I should be getting, and blah-de-blah-de-blah. And if I'm a dick, I notice I'm being a dick, and I don't like that. Well, it depends the way in which I'm being a dick. If I'm being a dick to unnecessarily and to a person who does not deserve it, then I feel a recoil at that of my own self, and I notice it happening. So I try very hard to be someone I'd like. I try hard to be someone I'd like, and most of the time I think I do alright, but some of the time I notice that I don't. So all efforts go toward attempting to be wholly somebody I like all of the time. My brother had a gammy rib and had to have an operation on it in order to live past the age of 35. But his gammy rib was slightly different from mine in that his sternum went in like this. It's called pectus excavatum. I don't have that problem so much as just a bunch of ribs down here that like to sort of encroach on my organs for no discernible reason. If you have this same thing, you should go get that checked out and then see what they say and let me know. It might well be that I continue to ignore the fact and just assume it's NP, and that, you know, when I feel it grinding on shit, just ignore that. Yeah, do it. Thanks. I feel like the only time people like rain is if, well, should be, if they have things to do so that they don't feel like there's something better outside, because there's really, really not. There's just a lot of rain and it's cold on you and horrible and unpleasant. So when I have nothing to do, I would much prefer there to be some fucking sun going down. There are people who have, like, an unjustified sort of value in rain. They find a value there because they don't ever have rain themselves. That's generally the only reason people like rain, because they don't get it very much. Or they're just masochists, I don't know. I mean, it's similar with me, because I feel the opposite way. I really fucking love the sun. I love it when it's super hot, because it hardly ever is. But I just feel like that's a much better way to live for everybody. Can't we just get rid of this fucking water from the sky? It's impinging on my lifestyle. Basically, no, and I like it like that. Not that I don't have a future. I'm sure I have a future. I just don't have the first idea what's going on in that future, and I prefer not to. I don't want to be the person who's envisioning themselves in the future doing this thing that they want to do, because I think that's the path to ruin. Just do what you feel like doing at the time. Don't think of it as such a linear progression, although it is. You just can't see what may come at you from any conceivable angle at any given moment in time. So just wait and see what happens. So I've already played a bit of Magicka. I played the demo. But I just want to say right now, nobody should buy me a game. And definitely nobody should buy me a game with the sort of preconception that I have to play them at that game if they buy it for me. I have a lot of games I want to play, and I don't want to feel any sort of responsibility in that realm, because that realm is quite aside from any responsibility. It should be entirely what I want to do at any given moment. So please don't buy it for me. It's a nice thought and everything, but I'll buy it when it's on sale. Last night I spent considerable amount of time, when I should have been asleep, reading a forum for heroin addicts. And I found out about something called acquirers, which are the middle ground between dealers and, like, recreational users. And they make a lot of money because said recreational users don't know dealers. But, you know, that means I have to know a dealer, and that's not I'm sure I can find out. Okay, so you get these sort of noobs who like to do some sort of drugs sometimes, kind of hard drugs, expensive drugs, and you charge them a shitload for said drugs, but you're just dealing with kind of regular people who aren't, like, insane addicts, and you make a lot of money. I think that's probably the best situation to find yourself in, and the least amount of danger. So I guess I'd go to that one. Be an acquirer. I can really sleep in any situation, even if I'm not particularly tired. Okay, so if I'm not particularly tired, this is the only way in which I can relate to you, because I very rarely have any trouble at all sleeping. It's my only skill. Read a book. I'm reading a book. Until you really, I don't know, maybe you can read a book for like 3 hours at night. I can't. I last an hour max. Otherwise, put on some sort of lecture series and have it just quiet, like quite quiet. so that you have to really focus to listen to it, and then you will maybe drift off. Those are my 2 tips, but I don't have very many because I'm so fucking great at being asleep. Let's pretend you didn't say reshooting and just say the first time it was made who I would like to be. I'd take Kate Blanchett's role in The Aviator as Katharine Hepburn because it seemed like a really fun role to play. I don't know if I'll be able to do it anywhere near as good, but give it a go. Give it a bash. I like Dara Breen in the same way I like Drew Carey presenting Whose Line Is It Anyway? I think I have a genuine fondness towards him when he's sort of presenting things, but I don't find him very funny. Whereas Frankie Boyle can be funny, but as I talked about, his Tramadol Nights is abysmal. So I guess I'll choose Frankie Boyle. I don't know, I guess I'll choose Frankie Boyle. Cardigan or hoodie? I really like cardigans, but hoodies provide me with a source of comfort that I just can't get anywhere else. Cardigans are cool because you can put one on and kind of look not like a mess. And that's something that's useful to me. Pasta or rice? Rice. I hardly ever eat pasta unless you count noodles as pasta. Like Japanese noodles-y-ness. So rice, because I don't think that does count as pasta, really. Bastard or McFly, really? Jesus Christ. They're both as loathsome as each other. I'll say busted, because I think they were first, and that sort of means something, maybe. I really liked Power Rangers a lot, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles it had a better mythos to it, and I really liked, I don't know, I liked the whole living in the sewers, and I did like it, so I think I'll choose Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mario, Sonic, Running Up Time, shit! I was a Sonic kid. Since then I obviously play Mario much more. Sonic 2 was great and I loved it, but I think maybe on the whole Mario has more to show. Red or blue? Blue! Jesus Christ, get off my back, will you? Yes, it's done. Although I did notice, as I was handing it in, 15 minutes before the deadline, that I'd forgotten entirely to do a conclusion and had to write it all up very quickly as people sort of attempted to distract me in the most dickish manner possible. But I'll read some of it to you just to prove that it's done. Okay. Oh, I really don't want to do that, but here it is. Here's the front page, and there's 4 pages. Fucking Hall effect. Check it out. It said I was balanced equally between estrogen and testosterone in the womb. But it's entirely based on the length of these 2 fingers. That whole page, nothing else you enter has any bearing on it. It's just talking about these. How much longer am I going to do that for? I don't know. Yep, it's quite an achievement. I feel like Wolfram Alpha as a website is going to be a big deal in the future. It started out not so hot, didn't quite do what everyone hoped it would do, but it's definitely heading more in that direction and is very intriguing to me. Plus, Mr. Wolfram is massively dickish in how much smartness he is hogging over there in his brain. What a dick. Second time I've been asked this on the internet. Pretty insane. But I'm gonna answer because you're a chick and we don't get many of those in these parts. So I used this stuff, which is like really cheap. I think it's about £3, and it has a thing that means it's very easy to draw a straight line because it's like that. Good luck to you, Bella. That whole thing is a pretty rad idea, but I'm rather peeved that it's only open to teachers, people who are currently teachers. That's pretty shit. I would definitely do it otherwise. I heard about Charlie Sheen's live Ustream show about an hour before it happened, and I put it up on my second monitor.
I was anticipating it happily. I was excited to see what he would do after his humorous interviews and such like. Unfortunately, I was gravely disappointed in the complete lack of funny and just really odd setup. Him sort of bouncing unfunniness off of his lackeys who were laughing heartily at nothing and reflecting attempted memes off each other with a sort of disarming desperation. And I felt like I saw what Charlie Sheen really was that night, and it was just a huge disappointment, and I haven't seen a second one, but it was so fucking boring. I'm not particularly enthralled. I don't feel like I particularly squandered it. I wasn't sure how you were supposed to make the most of something like that. It was all fairly happenstance and a bit strange and a bit funny. I answered questions still, but yeah, I have unfortunately other more impending issues to contend with. Much as I'd like to devote 100% of my time to aspects of internet, I can only spend 20% of time, and of 20%, probably more than that. Anyway, basically the percentages didn't add up for me to be able to just sit here answering questions all the long day. Alas. I'm not going to talk about most embarrassing moments because I don't feel you've done anything to earn that. But as far as other girls go, the best story I could ever hope to tell on VU/the internet at large involves me at the age of 9 years old being forced to run around the playground while another girl gave me a purple nurple. I don't know why it happened. I have no recollection of the why, I just remember it happening. And that's the best I have to offer, I think. I think it's quite good. Medium rare and juicy with blood. Stevie Carter is my Steam name. And when I was trying to think of a Steam name 6 years ago, my little brother was telling me a story about this kid that him and his friends bullied. And this kid turned to them, and his rebuke for everything they had done and everything they had said was, "Science is against you." And his name was Stevie Carter. I don't really have dreams in terms of possible career directions. I think that's what's usually meant or inferred when you talk about your dream. Is it? I don't know. I'm taking it as such, seeing as you've mentioned I found my calling in relation to it. I always do this and like do loads. It's supposed to just be one. Speech marks within speech marks within speech marks. So I don't have dreams, I just have fitful whims that strike me from moment to moment, essentially. Not moment to moment, but stretched over a longer time scale. Moments aren't defined in time. So, from moment to moment. No, moments are generally meaning short distances. Let's stretch it out on the old x-axis, and we have ourselves an accurate portrayal of the current world that I live in. Initially, my sort of thought answer was yes, of course, but then I remember that there's this guy who walks up and down the road sometimes who likes to stop and talk to the sky sometimes, and I think if he fainted, I would just assume it was it's for the best. I once tripped on a Subway sandwich while I was walking down the road. One of the higher comedic moments in my entire life. Nobody stopped to help me. I feel like nobody noticed. It very much seemed like nobody noticed, but they might have just been averting their eyes, as is probably recommended in that situation. So if they seemed like they needed my help and weren't raving lunatics, then yes. Yep. Piece of shit. Piece of shit game. Fucking depressed me. I sat here, I played it, I was like this. My speakers don't like it either. My speakers do that when they're unhappy. You can hear them doing it. It was horrible and not a good experience and horrifically depressing and everything bad in the world. I saw this video yesterday.
all of the footage coming out at the moment from Battlefield 3 is very nice and good and exciting. What's very central to this is the fact it's all gameplay footage and it looks really fun. I'm not so psyched, well, I'm not really at all psyched on single player mode, but multiplayer is going to be it's going to be good, I think. I have a good feeling. Well, basing on how it looks good. And I read a interview with a guy from DICE who was very reassuring indeed, referred to the core audience in not just that manner and in something that felt like more than just a lip service-y way. Well, it was, I'm sure. See, I'm excited, you can tell. So yeah, I'm really excited about Battlefield 3, and I think it's going to be super fun. I probably will need to upgrade, although based on what was being used in that video, apparently it's not too hungry and will run nicely on affordable sort of hardware. I will need to upgrade, I don't doubt really, to have a good experience and not just feel like I'm a bit of a cripple child. So I've never really I haven't upgraded for a particular game, but when I upgrade, I do save games until I upgrade, so I haven't played Metro 2033, and I think there's a few others I haven't played, but like The Witcher 2, Red Orchestra 2, Battlefield 3, those are the main games that I feel are gonna fucking very much warrant to the point of undeniability and upgrade, and that's gonna be quite soon. So, yeesh. Excited though. I just got out of the shower. I buy all my games for the PC. I buy them almost exclusively through Steam because I really like Steam. I think people downloading games is a bit shitty. It's very detrimental to anybody who wants to continue playing games on PC. I will encourage developers to develop for PC as much as they possibly can, and that involves buying the games, although I do buy a lot of them in Steam sales. But still, I do torrent or download DS games because that platform has absolutely no problems right now or ever, is absolutely thriving, and plus I would never pay upward £20 upward for a DS game is just obscene. I download music too because I find out basically if a band comes to the UK or is in the UK and they are touring, I will go and see them and I'll pay money to see their band, and I find out about bands I wouldn't have any idea about otherwise just because I can download their music and listen to them and decide if I like them, and I think it's a good thing. So I'm not really like it about any other piracy apart from PC game piracy, basically. I didn't know what this was until I just did a Google search, and I don't think I have that, but I can see where you're coming from. I changed it. You're welcome. Shrove Tuesday went by pancakeless. I had nary a pancake and I have nobody but myself to blame. Do you like these close-ups? I'm being artistic. Oh. If I talk in a game, people will assume I'm a small child, a small boy who ought to be in bed, and they will tell me I ought to be in bed. I'm actually at a severe disadvantage until I correct them, which feels douchey. And then they are liable to over-medic me in order to... if you and then just go lie on the road for a while, someone will pick you up. I think, like, even aside from the obvious new iteration that is 10 times better than the one you will buy if you adopt early, even aside from that, I don't think that the 3DS is worth it. I played it at a event organised by Nintendo in a warehouse, and I wasn't taken with it. I liked the bit where I got to shoot at my own head, and my own head was sort of coming at me from all angles and had stupid facial region. That entertained me, but it doesn't have much longevity. There are some games on there that I would like to play, but I don't know if I'd play them in 3D, especially as most of them are at 30 FPS, and it's a bit like 3D is a slight eye rape as it is, and then bring in 30 FPS and it just becomes unpleasant. So I would say Ixnay on the Nintendo S-Day Nay. Do the 40 minutes span the gamut of rape? I was quite surprised by the amount of rape in that film, and I watched it with my parents, which meant I wasn't even allowed to jerk off. I don't like it when I do that, so, you know, you have to sometimes respect other people and their whims, however selfish they may be. I really liked the first, I don't know, some percentage of the film, and then it just went a little bit, but as specified, I only watched it once with my parents, couldn't jerk off, and probably would need to watch it again in order to ascertain the good/badness. In general, director's cuts are better. Ply her constantly with the date rape drug, and not only will she be yours for the taking, but she won't hassle you about anything ever again. I don't think anyone should be asking advice from me about hair. Look, what is this? I can do this, and it does that. Okay. My hair is hay. Look. It looks like hay and it feels like hay most of the time. Some of the time. And plus, long. This isn't really long, and this is the longest I've had it since I was 13. So I can tell you my methods, but they have little validity. And shaking hands. They have no shaking hands. That was just an unnecessary addition I threw in for free. Plus, my hair was just tied up and it just bust on out. Well, I do use very cheap plastic things to tie my hair up, and they do break often. So let's not jump to too many conclusions. I wash my hair about every 3 days. This is 4 days, no washing, and it needs a wash. What's your hair setup? I think that counts, but even if you told me, that wouldn't enlighten me to enlighten you, so I'm really no expert on this topic. I've never been on a dating site, but I think if I was a guy and I wasn't immediately striking, I would do that and hope for the best. I'm really glad I'm not a guy or a full-on lesbo, because Jesus Christ, is it slim pickings. Look around the internet and there are some good pickings, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. I feel sorry for you, and I'm really glad I'm not you. And good luck in every one of your endeavours. I'm reading Infinite Jest currently. It's a long haul with me in books, because I don't, you know, I'm so busy. Look at me being so fucking busy right now. Jesus. So, you know, I'm yay far through the book. I don't know, some length of yay. And I really like it. I think it's awesome. Mostly just the way it's written, I dig. Well, not mostly that, but substantially that. It's very, very appealing to me and makes me want to carry on writing my thing that I'm writing, kind of. Well, obviously my views are very important to me, and as such I'll have a new video up within the next 7 days. Just wait and see, it'll be there. I don't really like this question, it borders on the gross. How often do I play with subscribers/viewers? If people want to add me on Steam and follow me into a game sometime, that's perfectly fine and good, and it's happened before and it's fun. Because it's a fucking game and that's what it's supposed to be, and they are most of the time. So if you want to do that, then by all means, do it. A lot of people seem to add me on Steam just to sort of watch me exist, which I understand entirely. Who wouldn't want to do that? You spelled that wrong and I hate you. Why? I'm no less than 7,840 feathers. I worked that out. It is based entirely around my timetable. My university timetable. Mostly. So I will go to bed the latest I possibly can go to bed in order to ascertain my required roughly 8 hours sleep. I really like the night, and I like being awake at night, and that kinda is annoying when I want to just be alive in the night and not get up at stupid AM. And it's a tough life. If it was me, I'd be feeling quite ashamed by now. Well, mild shame. I'd have some mild shame. As it is, I'm just somewhat disappointed. I saw it for the first time at the weekend, and it just lacks any kind of pizzazz, and I don't see why it has to lack any kind of pizzazz. And it was a disappointment. It just felt like I was watching a particularly stiff live kids Saturday morning TV show that tried to inject some surface amount of politics. It was weird. I'd like to think this isn't true, but it depends entirely upon, I mean, not that I'm particularly going to be necessarily be his teacher. It's crossed my mind in the past because it has massive holidays. This is a great reason to go into it, and the pay. But the stress, a little bit. Nah. So if I taught primary school kids, yes, they would be getting booted across the room very quickly, soon after my arrival. Woo! Splat. I think that's what kids do. I think they splat. So I would have to teach older kids, like college age, and then I probably wouldn't abuse them, but again, that's just a hope really, isn't it? Yeah, it's a phase. Do you like electronic music? Because that's what grown-ups listen to, isn't it? They don't like guitars anymore. No, I love hardcore, and I love pop punk and variations thereof. It's my favourite kind. Yes? No? Yes? No? I'm sorry, that's really loud. Depends how you want to look at it. I had 2 brothers, so it was a bit shit. Like, anything you got free, it had to be split 3 ways. And that really just meant you had to wait a really long time to get anything that came free. So we'd get the Beano and add 3 sweets. Fucking awesome. Check out this drumstick lolly. No, put it in the drawer until we have 3 of them. We can have 1 each. Jesus Christ. Takes a long time. We had a drawer of sweets, and none of us even went there. That's how we were disciplined. Well, really, that's how scared we were of our dad. That's what it says. So my favourite ever thing that was free in a box of cereals, those things that you put on your bike, on your wheel, and they go around, and I think they were fluorescent. No. I've always found Russell Brand extremely annoying, and every aspect of him is annoying to me. But I saw an interview he did with Jeremy Paxman, and during that spell, during the time I was watching that interview, I thought, hey, he's good. He's pretty good. But now I can't even imagine how I could ever think that. I'm sure if I watched it again, I would again come to the same conclusion, but Jesus Christ. I saw an advert for this Easter Bunny trailer for the Easter Bunny film where he is voicing the Easter Bunny. I can't believe it's real. No, I haven't avoided that. So I'm on my computer like this. From this angle, fine, no big deal. From this angle, I have the hunch on. The hunch is on. Is it not? It's slightly undeniable. So I do that. Sometimes I sort of sit straight for a while and yeah, I'm buckled up for this internet and no harm doing. So then I'm like this, yeah, and then it's just like, So I imagine I'll be one of those old ladies who is doubled up, like so. Well, it's quite possible I'll be in London at the time, and I find it difficult to comprehend the current levels of absolute people saturation, especially in tubes. And I fail completely to imagine or expect what it's going to be like when Olympics 2012 rolls around. Shit. The AWP. In Counter-Strike, the AWP. The AWP in Counter-Strike, the AWP. The AWP in Counter-Strike. And I don't think they're troll-facing, and that makes it so much worse. Sorry, excuse me. keep forgetting this. Yeah, I'm very much more excited than I was before I saw the gameplay trailers, let's say that. I think I already talked about this, I feel like I did. But yeah, it looks good, it looks like it will be fun. And I've only just realised that I've already answered this question, so I'm answering it again. It looks like it will be deserving, and I sure hope that it proves that it is. Or else. Not all of the Earl has pasted properly into the thing, but I'm not filled with great hope about this, as it has fan pop in there, and that rarely holds much promise. I keep being told that I look like Laura Marling, including tonight in real life, which I'm not best pleased about either. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yep. So people at university are now able to come up to me. I never thought this would happen. I thought the possibility was tiny, but it's happened several times. Discussions are even put forth. References are made. Rose, when are you going to make a new video? No. But yeah, that happened. Fuck. Aside from that, I once made a video addressed to this guy who taught me film a bit at college. Taught me film, did a class, something. And I made a long, extensive video. I don't remember how long it was because I've deleted it because it was annoying. But it was all about Mac versus PC and everything he'd ever said and everything I'd ever said and the arguments we'd had at the time about it. So I put it up, whatever, about 3 years ago, and I was at home at Christmas, and I was walking down the aisle in a supermarket. Rose? Turn around. Oh shit, it's the guy. Hey, Tony. We talked for a while. My brother was there, and he knew him as well, so we caught up and shit. And I thought, hey, maybe he didn't watch it. And I was just like looking at him like, maybe he didn't see it. It's possible. But then he mentioned it, the YouTube thing. He mentioned it, and I was like, yeah. But he said he liked it and was touched by it, which was baffling. But again, very weird. Every mix is weirding. There's also other things involving search terms and my name. Fortunately, you guys don't know my name. My family do. Bit of a bummer. Fear. Just terror. I'm afraid to fail, and that's why I learn things. Basically the only reason. Is it? It might be. I'm interested in these things when I don't have to learn them. When I have to learn them, it's like, but it's like exams, and that's the point where I have to look at it all. Just motivated by fear. Ow. I actually can't do it because it hurts too much. Yeah. Schnell. Schnell. Fucking Schnell. Why does the winking face exist? It exists as a creepy piece of shit. All it's done for your question is make it creepy. I think foreign people use them because they don't really understand. Maybe it's different in their language. But in my language, the winking face is a creepo. Look at him. What is he implying there? His presence implies things about me, and I don't like it. Just ixnay on the inking ace way fey. Man, I've never done this before I made that other video, but I guess now it's embedded deeply. Schnell. Is this a real question? I can't tell if this is a real question. Yeah, I'm up this late because I like the night. I've even mentioned this in the past, haven't I? Yeah. Maybe you should go back and watch every single one of my videos before you even deign to ask a new one. JK. But the fact that you've asked in that manner makes me feel like you feel like you're familiar enough with me to ask why I'm up this late. As if that's out of character in some regard, when it's really not. In the vaguest least. Tomorrow I have to be up at, well, I have to be in a lecture at 10 AM. I'm sort of trying to make myself feel like I would be a good human if I went to bed. I mean, my bed's just there. It doesn't seem like that much of a task, really, does it? But for some reason there's this wall that I have to sort of scale, and it takes an effort just to go to bed, and it's like... Tomorrow I have to do a bunch of precisely nothing, as is almost always the case. But I love it so much. What are you even saying? I don't know what you're trying to say. I spoke a language, and there was nothing that wasn't proper about that, so... You're ginger as well, so I don't know where you get off. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. It just means that whatever you just said now means something else. It's like a double entendre maker, but it's directed at the person. Is this just me who feels like this about it? Fuck. If you use winking faces, especially if you use them like with chicks, just quit it. It's horrible, it's a horrible thing. I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm talking to anybody who happens to watch this. Just, please don't ever do it. It's disgusting. Unless you really want to fucking cyberbone them. Because then, I think that goes down really well. No, because who the fuck are you, really? Why would I trust anything you said? You can't lend me a ladder. It'd have to be a metaphorical ladder that wouldn't be a ladder, because the wall itself was a ladder, so the wall itself wasn't a ladder, the wall itself was a metaphor. If I did like an English degree, I'm sure I wouldn't have fucked that up right there. Yeesh. Am I right? I'm sorry to say that. I don't want to be one of those people who says, am I right, about things. It's a little bit, used up. It's bitter lemon. I love this shit. Look, it's nearly run dry. The bitter lemon is running dry. I buy like a bottle yay big. You have no way of judging that, do you? It's somewhat big, and it's 53 pence. Buy it on the way home from school, stick it in the fridge, and that's my drink for a few days. Just bitter lemon. It's fucking delicious. I don't really know what people mean when they say they have no personality. I feel like that's an actual, literal impossibility. So, you like things, and those things that you like affect you in some way, and they make you something. I feel like that's why I am the way I am. Various things have happened to me, and look at me now. So maybe you just need some serious trauma, and you'll be fashioned. I was just talking about how Mac is incredibly overpriced. Basically, that's my only problem with Macs, apart from the fact I would never use them because of the horrible interface that feels like plasticine in some way. Everything thinks you're retarded on a Mac. Aside from that, if they were just regular priced, that would be fine by me, but it's the fact that they're no better than equal hardwared PC that's so much cheaper,
so you're just buying into the label. That's what I don't like. I feel like I'm not a good E-friend to even my actual friends who are also in E, because, I don't know, when I'm on the internet, I don't mind talking to someone if I find a link that's funny, or they find a link that's funny and there's something to talk about, but generally I'm not like, chattity chat on the interwebs. I'm just doing other things. So, my internet heart is black and cold. I think what you're saying is that if you study physics, it's unlikely that you'll indulge in things that are screwy fantasy. So that's how I've deciphered your question. What the fuck, man? Physics is the realm of the nerd. Go into any class, ask the people. Well, just tell them I think it's unlikely that you'd enjoy video games. And also, science fiction. Absolute screwy fantasy based on physics. I don't even know. Maybe I've completely misread your question. No, I don't realise it. What's that on your left arm? What the fuck is this? It's not coming off. I don't know. When would that have happened? I guess it's permanent marker and someone's just thought that'd be hilarious to do. I'll just have a shower later. It's like when someone tells a joke and then the person they're telling it to feels the need to explain to the person who told the joke what the joke means. People are stupid, you're an idiot. At some point, every single wacky question began to involve the apocalypse. For why? For why? Do you care? Zombies, mimes, robots, and kittens. I suppose you just hoped that I'd say something interesting. But I'm sorry, buddy, it's not gonna happen. No, but Connie Huck ruined Charlie Brooker. Hi, I present Blue Peter. And then Charlie Brooke is an embittered man, and he's ugly and fat. That's what he's supposed to be. Why has he got to try and be happy and get married and be slick and successful? The whole premise is broken. I really like Notepad. That's probably a weird one. No, I think probably lots of people like Notepad. It has a certain charm to it. So I like Notepad. Steam is an obvious choice here. I feel like this is not a good question. I mean, it's a good question, but I don't feel like I can do it any justice, because there's nothing really out of the ordinary. VLC, just basic shit that's of no real, you know, there's no pizzazz or wow here. It's just pure functionality, which is what the PC does very well. Alright, so I can't live without Steam. I can live without Steam. I can live without him. I can live without my computer, but no. Just no. Sorry, I guess. I really like my screensaver. FLIQLO, and it's the clock one. I think that's a great screensaver. It makes your computer a clock. Not a very energy efficient clock, but by golly if you don't wake up and see right away what the fuck the time is. The capital letters and the smiley face make me feel this is my mum. Yeah, Mum, I get it, yeah, I'm beautiful, okay. Just stop it. We've been over this. Just stop coming on to me and just leave me alone. I'm not alone, just look. I've got a Talk Physics bag which has a pen in it, and a sandwich box, and a Dr. Pepper pencil case. Jesus, man, relax, don't just go falling all over you. Okay, so when I was a kid, making shit websites to put my shit on, like, you know,
14, 15, 16, I used Notepad to write the HTML because I really enjoyed that shit. From then on, I kept like a diary on my computer, which was all in Notepad and spans a vast number of years. And what I really like about Notepad is how much of a like non-committal move it is to open. When I have something to write, then if I open Notepad and just write some things down and start writing properly, it's like a much smoother transition. It's much easier than like opening a fucking Microsoft Word document and it's just staring you in the face. So I like Notepad for a variety of reasons. And I really like Corey and you. Well, I'll give it a whirl. I've never really had problems with VLC apart from it likes to update a lot and just... It also really likes to fucking build its font cache recently, and I don't care about its font cache, and we should shut up. But at Christmas it had a small Christmas hat, Santa hat, on its little cone icon, and I really liked that. Okay, it was a good run, but I'm gonna go to bed now. Night! When I stand near someone, it's usually because the tube is so crammed that I had no option other than to be pressed, sort of, rather impolitely into somebody's armpit or whatever. So there's not usually a lot of choice involved in that, and I can't really regret it, apart from thinking, oh, I could have got another carriage, but really they're all equally stuffed, and I would be standing in somebody's armpit regardless. So, people I regret sitting next to exist, and usually they are eating food. One guy in particular who strikes me as the worst person in the world was eating sausage roll after sausage roll out of a plastic Tupperware box that he kept opening, getting one sausage roll out, eating noisily, then putting it all back, like, no, I'm not having another one. But he kept having another one, and that never stopped, and I actually got out and went and sat somewhere else. Yeah, she's probably banging right now, and then spinning you a bunch of really consistent, believable lies. So just get it over with. Get her out the way. My local Chinese takeaway is a buffet, and it's not actually owned by Chinese people anymore. But at least it's very definitely halal now, because that's put a big series of relief smashes all over my face. So I order whatever I feel like scooping into my pot, which is usually everything. I especially like the prawns. Prawns are good.
What's a man check? The idea intrigued me so much that I even have that in my Google search thing, man check. The only thing that came up I could see was relating to kicking a guy in the balls and checking he's a man in a distinctly unman-ishly moment, which I don't do to myself before I leave the house. I'm very gentle with my balls. No. But the idea is very humorous to me. If it ever came to fruition, I would be unhappy, probably. But the abstract idea right now, quite nice and funny. Okay, can we do this without breaking the world? Let's see. Okay. Should I do... I'll just do this maybe. There's a drink. Some stuff on my lips because they got fucked. Some blades to whip up some smoothies. Don't know why it's over here. USB flash thing, which is actually a micro SD thing, which is for DS, which is not mine. Green pen. Woo! Honey. Don't know why that's here. There's a dreadful story about honey that maybe I'll tell if someone asks. The honey that preceded this honey saw a dreadful fate. This kind of has my name on it, and I kind of like it. Rouse. Gonna apply for a Tesco Club card. That's exciting, isn't it? Yep. A small spoon that goes in this mug that I got from someone at university for Christmas. Speaker. Some face junk. Speaker. A mouse. A mug that I made on the internet. Some chopsticks. A pen! Woohoo! It's not actually a very good pen. I borrowed it from someone when I was in lab and I haven't ever given it back. Whoops. More face junk. A knife. My headphones. A toothbrush that I haven't fully transitioned to yet. Vitamins. Some vitamins. Delicious. A bank thing. I just lost my car yesterday. Whee! And that's about it. Thus concludes your tour of my desk. In what way? Are we talking about face off? Or are we talking about like when you're a kid and you sell your soul and you get money and someone has a bit of paper and you feel a bit weird and bad about it for a while, but in the end you forget? Either way, probably not, but clarification would be delightful. I could never do that. I would never do that. Well, possibly I would do it if I had a shit ton of money and felt guilty one day. Or just, had a shit ton of money, felt guilty. No, just a shit ton of money, felt guilty. Shit ton of money, guilt. Money, guilt, £1,000. Have it. Give it to those kids. Well, they look like they've been eating quite a lot. So maybe just put some money into a good Weight Watchers scheme over there. I don't have enough money to do that with. And Red Nose Day is really annoying to me. I don't know. Am I a bad person? It's not. It's just like kind of bad comedy in between do-goody do-goods telling me to do good. Nah. I have no idea. I hadn't noticed. I don't like that that's happened. Who are you? Why have you done it? What does it mean? I don't have a Facebook. What happens when someone likes something? Does it show up as they like this? And then other people are like, oh, this is something that is defining this person because they like it. Is that what you think when you press like on something and you know everyone's going to see what it is you like? Come forward. Tell me who you are. Yes, because that's something I've only ever heard Carol Vorderman be referred to as. I know full well what kind of question this is, but I am myself intrigued because I was on an internet forum and I saw a gif of Mila Kunis doing it. I didn't feel like trying at the time. But here we go. Okay, I have a hand. It's quite big, look. Compare. So, here we go, ready? How do you do it? Do you do this? I can't remember.
do those. No, I can't do that. I hate spoilers. I hate spoilers. I think I've said this on here before, and that's why you might be asking. I hate spoilers so much. If I hear a spoiler, I can't let it go. I just think about it and how it's changed completely my perception of a book or a film or a TV series. My dad is the absolute fucking worst of them. I think it's a combination of that and the fact that when I was a kid I was really loving this book I was reading, and then I just read the last page and found out what happened, and I was really not happy with what happened, and I wondered if I'd actually read through it I would have been happy with that ending, and I would never know. That really affected me. And my dad, you can't talk to my dad about anything. I remember when we were kids, me and my brothers, we read through Lord of the Rings. Every time he'd ask where we were, we'd tell him, and then he'd say, oh, so you just, No, that hasn't happened yet, but thanks. Everything, every possible anything, he doesn't know when the order things happening is. What the order things happening is. I have a cold and I sound like a massive retard, and I'm talking like a massive retard. Continuing on, nonetheless. So yeah, I hate spoilers a lot. I don't even like it when people read the back of books I'm reading. I don't read the back of book I'm reading. I don't want to know what the blurb is and the synopsis, even if it's just, the beginning 100 pages of the book. I don't want to do that. And people read the back and they say, oh, this. Oh no, don't tell me a spoiler! But it's on the back of the book. Be quiet! And major dissatisfaction, bad times. There's no agreeable furniture with which I can demonstrate my absolute lack of ability when it comes to such a thing as a pull-up. I will just writhe slightly in mid-air. There's nothing happening, but I'm straining and shaking. And, no upward motion though. No defeat of any sort of gravity. Just a eel writhing in the air. I don't really feel like I have any basis on which to grade any kind of keyboard. My keyboard is really cheap. I think it's about £8. I like it because it's really slimline and quite quiet. But it is breaking, and I'm fighting the urge to buy a more expensive keyboard. There's one part of me that thinks, okay, keyboard is really, massively important piece of hardware. It's what you interface with, and if you have a good keyboard, it can actually, not fuck up your hands, and it's gonna last probably longer than any single piece of hardware you put in your computer. But on the other hand, this keyboard is fine. But people say that about their shitty video cards, so I don't know quite what I'm missing. I don't need, the kind of macro shit you can have on a good keyboard, because I don't really play RTS. So that's probably what's making me not do that. But I don't know, no, I probably shouldn't buy a nice keyboard. I have this mouse, Logitech MX518, which I like a great deal. It has DPI switching. I always keep it on the highest DPI unless I can't be bothered to change the sensitivity manually, and then I just do that as a shortcut. I was playing Disc Dash the other day on the internet, and I needed to downgrade the sensitivity, and I just used that, but it wasn't actually enough, so I actually had to go and, well, it wasn't that it wasn't enough, it wasn't, the resolution wasn't small enough for that to be a good idea. Yeah, I use the side buttons for just scrolling internet, forward, backward, and whatnot, and sometimes I assign them for things like second weapons. And when I was playing Left 4 Dead a lot with my friends, we went back when we used Vent instead of Mumble. I had to always use push to talk because it basically didn't work otherwise, and I set this button to push to talk, and I just destroyed my hand. My hand was so tense, I was like, and still kept it for a really long time though, because I kind of liked the idea, even though it didn't work at all. I fucking love dubstep! No, dubstep's shit. Biff from Back to the Future said he likes my videos, and that was the crowning moment of my life.
Yep, it should be. It's weird. I think it's mostly down to the distributors, though, and not wanting to particularly undercut the retail sector. So yeah, it's weird, and when it happens, I buy it in the the shop. I go to the shop and I buy some tea. I don't go to the shop for games ever. I'll order them from Amazon, if that's the case. Here's the story. There was a weird kid at school with very wide eyes, and he liked to show people, I don't know, torture videos, because he really liked them a lot. That's in itself, you know, kind of standard, growing up on the internet, slightly fucked. But you kind of went beyond that with the staring eyes. The staring eyes were really the thing that set him apart. Anyway, one day, he had me on Steam. That was good. I was glad about that. Glad that happened. Glad he got my Steam. And he had me on Steam, and he messaged me on Steam and said, "Bro, I can't believe, I never thought I'd find anyone that I knew on this website." And I was like, "What website?" And he linked me to a website called something like, I don't know, fetish, fuck, anal, some shit. Fuck some shit.com. And there was pictures of me everywhere. And somebody was saying they were me and getting guys to mutilate themselves and their dicks on webcam. It was there were random chat transcripts. He felt like he should put up there to really get across what it was he wanted. And no, of course that person's not going to go on webcam ever. You don't deserve it, you worm, but bash your dick to pieces on webcam for me and A-OK, good times. So that was happening with my face, because of my face, dick bashing. I've cut my own hair for about 6 years. I haven't cut, this hair has not had a scissor to it in nigh on a year or something, and it's seriously in need of that kind of shit. I was standing outside Topshop on Oxford Street waiting for someone, and somebody came up and said, "Hey, do you want a free haircut? Actually, we'll pay you to get your haircut." And I was like, "Neat, that sounds good." So then I went, the next day I had to go to Vidal Sassoon to go and get checked out by the haircutting guy who was super famous. People were taking pictures of him. And he was like, "Yeah," from across the room. And then someone came and looked all in my hair for nits or something. I don't know. And then they said, "Yeah." And I said, so what hair is it going to be?" And they showed me a picture of the worst hair in the fucking world. Shoreditch wanker times 10 to the power 8. Like, bowl cut, you suck a dick, you're horrible, I hate you, and you're me with that hair. Shit. So I said, "Well, how much do I get paid?" And they said £20. And I said, "I'll see you later." And I got the hell out of there. And that was the last time that any sort of possible hair cutting was maybe going to happen. I should do it soon, it's just, I'm so busy. I mean, I have things to do, and that means I don't do other things. Like get my hair cut. But I kind of want to get it cut by a student for cheap. Like £5. Yep. Story has a lot of good things going on, I'm not denying that, but she has a bad thing, which is hee. I don't like her weird giggles. It's not what I want to see. Sasha Grey wins in my book. She does the gagging thing though. Don't do that. Hi Sasha Grey, you're certainly watching this video. Don't do the gagging thing. It's a bit upsetting, and stop doing all the super weird shit. And just, I don't know what that was, but certainly do it. It's gonna hurt me. It's gonna kill when you desert me. This happened to me twice before. I won't let it happen anymore. I know I should get next to you, fool. You got a look that makes me think you're cool, but it's just sexual attraction, not something real, so I'd rather keep a whacking. Why bother? It's gonna hurt me. It's gonna kill when you desert me. This happened to me twice before. Won't it happen anymore? Okay, spell my name right. I'm sure that'll help. I'll get you on the right track. It's a Y, not an IE. Other than that, just try and entertain yourself in any situation and all of the time. Well, it depends where you live. If you live where I live, I'm sure if I went outside and just sat on the road, then a torrent of amusement would befall my existence. Right on my existence, I'm sure. So, location dependent. You're on the internet as well, like, what the fuck? Why, yes I do. So I had this honey that I got from my father. My father gave me this honey because, amazingly, the postcode on the honey, it was sort of local honey, and he found out that it was actually farmed from a neighbour's garden, like, a few doors down this guy lived. So my dad thought it would be rather quaint to give me this honey that was actually flowers from their garden. Nice. The honey was really good, but it granulated, as honey tends to do. And it advised on the packet that you put it in hot water, like in a jar, or you put it in a microwave. I thought, well, I'm in my bedroom and the heater's there, so I put it on the heater. I would intermittently check on honey. No, it's not quite liquidy enough yet. I want to get this down to the last nobule of honey granulation. And so I left it, and then I thought, no, it's time for some honey now. So I picked the honey up. I'm looking at this honey a lot. You can't see it. So the lid was off because I'd been looking at the honey a lot to check if it was yet liquidized. So I picked it up, and it sort of picked up because it was stuck, but then it sort of went, whoa, and spilled all over my arm. Hot honey. I was like, didn't know what to do. It's quite hot. Fuck. Just stood there. It cooled down. And I was like, okay, good. I'm not, burnt in the first degree. It's okay, but there's honey all over my floor. And it took ages to clear up, and I was sticky the whole day, and my jeans were sticking to my legs. And I missed the lecture as well because I had to spend the time cleaning the honey up from the floor before it just hardened and was impossible to clean up. And it took like 5 goings over to get it all up. It's horrific. A film should be made. I feel like gusto in a face palm is sort of missing the point. Like, it needs to be a resigned sort of acknowledgement of what the world really is. So, like, an angry face palm doesn't work, isn't right. I don't want to do my own face palm when it's not genuine. Sorry. The realistic budgetary range within which my birthday presents can fall doesn't really enclose anything I want or need. I mean, some things would be nice, like some chocolate maybe, and some money that I can buy some things with, like some small things, a small amount of money that I'll get. But if I had like a really rich relative, I would ask for many things, I think. Really nice keyboard, basically a new computer. Even though now is a bit of a stupid time to buy a new computer, I would, if I had a rich relative, why the fuck not, huh? So, failed. We went to a museum called the Pangolin, I think. An odd name though. It was some sort of mesh of those letters. And it was to see some beast sculptures. It turned out it was quite a small room which you could see entirely through the window on the way in. The eyes were averted and we looked at some things and they were quite nice, but it was quite small. And we were like, And then on the way out, we noticed as we walked out, there was a stream of women with instruments walking to the right in this large building. And we just followed them down some escalators, past people just sipping wine, like rows of glasses, bunches of people all the way down. And everybody seemed affluent and, impressive on some level. And everyone had name tags around their necks, saying who they were, what they were doing. And we just sort of followed the flow and ended up in a room which the other room was being broadcast into because this was a smaller room we were in. We just walked into a room and nobody asked who we were or why we didn't have tags because nobody thought anybody could be so coarse as to just walk in without having the appropriate requirements. I don't know. We didn't know. We just walked in. So we watched on a screen Jude Law talking about some shit, Goldie conducting an orchestra, some shit, weird, entertaining way to spend an afternoon. Then we went away, and later on when we got home we found out that the tickets for that thing were £65 each. Wow. Wahauza. I do actually want to do this, I do plan to do this. I don't know who Tabascus is, I know who iJustine is, but didn't know she did that kind of thing. I'm a bit surprised and a bit cynical about it. But maybe in the future. Well, 1 year for Christmas, 2 years ago, maybe 3, I purchased for my brother a gift that was those things. I hit myself in the eye and it really hurt. I'm starting to feel quite bad. It's like berry pills that make sour things taste sweet. I'm sure a quick Google search with those sort of concepts will give rise to, I think apparently they're being squashed by the corporations. I don't know, people say that. I've heard people say that, I don't know if it's true. Ooh-wee. So yeah, I had one of those pills, ate it, and then could drink literally vinegar from the bottle. And it tasted quite nice. I don't really know what you're talking about, but I'm gonna expose some weird shit about my hands. Well, it's a little bit lackluster, possibly. Okay, I have this thing. Where is it? Here. You can't even. Can you see it? Kinda. See this weird lump here? I don't have it on the. Well, I do a little bit, but not as much. There you go. So, this is because I write with a pen every day like this. I have a stupid. I do this. Yep, this pen is not getting away from me. Ha ha ha! So it settles right into that part of my ear. So I've built up this odd looking kind of freako callus there. It's a little bit weird, isn't it? I also have this like pink mark here, and I've had these reoccurringly throughout my life, and they sort of come and go. I think that about covers it. I think that's probably enough. So, you mean like on the sides here? I get a little bit of flesh gunk there, but it's no worse. In fact, it's much less bad than it ever was on the mouse ball, whatever its technical term was with which you twiddled. I loved cleaning that though, a lot. I kind of miss it. Now I just have this snazzy light going on. Can you get it in your eye? I was filming this before and I managed to do it, but then I pressed the fucking back button on it, and it went back, and then it never recorded. Motherfucker! It's not gonna happen again, is it? It's just an absolute fluke. Well, you get to keep your eyesight for another day. No, everyone else has absolutely no comprehension of what a pen will do to you if it escapes your vice-like grip. And I'm sure that's going to come back and haunt them one day. No, I have a cold, and I'm a little bit slow in the head, a little bit. Hey, keep up. I'm speaking to myself, but I took a while to register it. If you follow me, which I certainly can't. The census form isn't in the letterbox. It was in the letterbox for a while, but it's not there anymore. I don't know anybody else who lives in this house, which makes it a little bit hard to fill it in. You're supposed to fill everybody's information. But I don't have it, but it's alright, it's not my problem, it's gone missing. I forgot to buy butter today for my toast, and that upsets me far more. P.S. Fine? Nah, don't worry about it. Just have some lemonade. Makes it good and sweet. You don't know, all you know about my height is what I've told you. I could be lying. You have no real concept of my height. You can't say, do something about it, shit. Because you have no, to you, I'm just, you can't compare me to any yardstick. Maybe should I compare myself to the yardstick of my bedroom, which you also have no conception of. Yeah? Alright then. Lift you up just so that we can actually encase myself, my massive self, in the small realms of the camera screen. How far back is it? I have to go in order to fit in. Look, I'm too tall right now. Too tall. I'm moving back. Oh. Just about fitting in it over here. Still too tall. I'm really giant. I feel like stress really isn't enough of a problem for me. I have an exam tomorrow morning. Tomorrow AM, let's say. And analogous, but nonetheless puts a little more of a ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah. So, the exam tomorrow, haven't done anything. It's now like 9:20. I'm just on this website. The very opposite of a good idea. Put my PJ clown pants on. I'm just thinking, oh, I'll just wake up tomorrow and revise. So I get stressed sometimes, but only when I absolutely should be stressed to fuck, and that propels me to actually go and do things that need to be done. Well, stay here and do things that need to be done most of the time. Anxiety. I used to have a big problem, but now I'm pretty much okay. I feel like my university experience is a lot different to other people's, and I'm quite happy about that. So today I was in a pub. Well, I put my heater on ages ago and its boils were. Yikes! Alright, back to the topic at hand. So I was in a pub this afternoon after our lectures, and because I'm friends with people I'm friends with because they're at university and we're studying the same course, it ended up in an argument about dinosaurs that went on for a good hour and a half and was quite heated. It's the latter part of my course that is titled Condensed Matter 2. Condensed Matter 1 was a bit of a baffling affair involving Leonard-Jones potential endlessly, taught by a Russian man, the Leonard-Jones potential, in micro and macro, and such things. And it was kind of just completely
for the most part, what the fuck. Seems alright in retrospect, but mostly that's because he kind of told us what was going to be in the exam, so I didn't get a bad grade. But it was a bit bad. Condensed matter 2, on the other hand, the current hand, temporarily speaking, is not so much that way. It is probably one of the easiest things that we have going on. But tomorrow it's the midterm, and it's an end of term test, which is pointless in my eyes because we're having exams in a month, including for this. But it counts for 5%. So those are reasons I'm not too worried about it. Counts 5%, easiest thing. But it's about electrochemical cells and a lot of chemistry shit that I don't know because I didn't do chemistry at all before now. So other people in the class are like, yeah, it's easy shit, it's A-level stuff, don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh, cool. But I still need to learn it at some point, and I haven't done that yet. So it's just called Marmite. Yeast extract isn't in the name, it's written on the thing. I feel like you've just heard about it because you're a foreign. So here it is. Marmite. It says yeast extract underneath, that isn't the name and it isn't worthy of mention. Yes, that's what it is. And yeah, it's goop that people hate. But people love it too. I just think it's quite alright. And what I like to do with it is get some toast. Bread first, then turn it into toast with a magical transmogrifying toaster. And then you put a layer of Marmite on, and then you put some cheese on top, and then you grill that piece of shit. And then you eat it, and it's yeasty. Don't understand the question. Are you putting forth a situation wherein the Nintendo 3DS is having a 53% failure rate, or does it actually have a 53% failure rate? I don't know. I haven't heard of this failure rate. I don't know. It sounds like you're kind of specifying the truth elsewise. Yeah, the 3D is a gimmick. Another hardware rehash. Don't really give a shit about the 3DS. Have mentioned this previously. I played it at a sort of demo, and I just kind of wish that it wasn't coming out, and then that all the games that were coming out on it would be playable on my current DS. Bummer. Probably about a 7. Which is untoward. I don't think this helped things. I don't think that woke me up or energized me. I had some shitty cheap energy drink, but it kind of just made my neck hurt. Neck, throat is now hurt. And still feeling kind of sleeps. Sleeps-o. Sleeps-o. I don't want to go to bed though. Of course not. That might actually help my life. On both accounts. I don't know. I tell people things and they ask me this, but the truth is, I haven't the foggiest. I don't even feel like I need to think about it, apart from in very pie in the sky. 3.14. I only know it's 2 decimal places. I'm not going to pretend to know it more than that, because I guarantee that at least 7 people watching this do to the 70th. I should probably try and learn some more than 2 decimal places, but that's what they want on a physics degree, so fuck it. So, the things I say when people ask me this as a teacher, might do the teacher training course and get $9 grand out of it, possibly. A researcher, don't know about that because it's sort of like homework for life and forever. And a journalist in science, or, well, I say science because that seems, related, because the question always comes after they find out what my degree is about. So to say something completely tangential would, not even tangential, like previously tangential from the point I was at before the degree. So
those are the things I say as to what the truth will bring us. Only time can tell. And I hope it would shut up. Look, fuck off, alright? You're the guy who came to me telling me to do my lab report, and then when I said, alright, I'm going to do it now. Not because of you, I may add. Because I chose to answer that question when I was going to do it anyway. So then you sort of sat there smugly like, I encouraged her, she will be thankful. No, I'm not thankful. You have zero effect on my life with your annoying nudging. So just to prove this point, I'm not going to study for the exam at all. I will fail it, and it will be your fault, and that will be definitely worth just teaching you a lesson. So the necklace I'm always wearing currently is this. It's a feather, kind of looks like a leaf. I don't really have a lot of love for it. I just put it on and then I never took it off. That's kind of how it goes with me and jewellery. It'll be like, I'll put this on, and then I don't take it off out of pure laziness. No sort of tie. I mean, I always like them to some extent. This I kind of don't give a shit about, and it sort of does this a lot and looks a bit spastic. So the only reason it's still on my neck after a month, I don't know, is because I'm lazy. What a great visual illustration of that fact. I don't believe for a second, well, I don't think this is a 14-year-old chick at all, but I feel like I shouldn't say anything humorous in this situation, just in case it is actually a 14-year-old chick. It's just not, but okay. So, you've got a boyfriend, and he's 18, and he wants to fuck you, and you're 14. First of all, that's a little bit odd, a little bit uncouth. 14 and 18, that's a big deal at the time. So first of all, question that, but you won't, because you're a 14-year-old chick, and you're probably still a bit stupid, because you're 14. So, my advice to you would be, don't do it if you don't want to. That's really all there is to say, isn't there? And just because you're 14 doesn't mean you have to be stupid. Okay, cat with scrotum for mouth. What the fuck is with that? Doesn't look like a cat. Belongings I ensure I have with me before I leave the house depends on what I'm going to do. Okay, so the consistent ones are the book I'm reading. Well, it's a thin book. It's a thin book of short stories by Google. Might continue to do that, get really thin books of short stories for the tube and sundry. Wallet. If I'm going to university, then I need my books and my pens. If not, then I don't. Keys. Mobile phone. Sometimes DS. It's very dependent, so it's not a constant. Variables. Extraneous. April the 5th, which is, I just realised, is a week and 1 day away. Holy fuck. Time flies when you're living. I do actually have a mouse pad, it just wasn't down at the time because I take it away when I'm eating, sometimes. But fortunately for me, there's now a bit of a sticky mark there, so I always notice it's not down. Here it is. It has sharks on it. Yeah, I got it because it was cheap. I haven't actually had a mouse pad for a great many years. Yikes. So I got one, and it's enjoyable. I do want like a sheet, you know, like the Razer sheet that are mouse pads. Ever since I used one at Gamerbase in the Trocadero, and I was like, wow, this is luxurious as fuck. You can't even see what I'm doing, but I was doing that and saying that for sure. I wasn't, but I felt it in my heart. Phlegm is an issue, a real issue in my life. So, maybe I'll get one of those sometime. This is great. Mostly because I don't know where it's coming from. Do you mean I should get a channel on YouTube full stop? Because that's funny if you think that. I sort of assume most people here know about it already. If you don't mean that, if you mean a vlogging channel for me to vlog, I don't even really know what a vlog is. I think I do them already, but maybe I don't. So, I feel like this is good enough right now for me. It's very quick, it's very easy, it's fun, and it's kind of vlogging, so it's very odd to me that Elizabeth, while feeling this strongly about wanting to drive me around the USA to eat food with me, feels that strong. Did I already say feel strong? I don't know. But maybe she doesn't feel strong in her hands, maybe she doesn't have hands, and maybe that's the issue, and that's why she wasn't able to do this. And she has a car that's tailored for her. I hear that's expensive and arduous as processes go, so I can only apologise lengthily. But I propose that she might only want me there in order that she can obtain a permit, a driver's permit, I think you call it. Here we call it a license, and I had to work hard for my license. I had to spend a lot of money on lessons and then a test, and the test was with a man I did not know and have not seen before. In America, I hear, you can just sort of just drive around for an allotted number of time with anyone who has a license. If this isn't true, good. If it is, well, I think Elizabeth needs to come clean with that. And just, hey Elizabeth, I'm right here. I'm here for you. But not if you're just going to use me so callously. Well, perhaps if you were going to use me so callously, I'd feel better about the whole endeavour, and I'd feel that there's a bit of give and take, rather than just me taking, eating, heifering. Nice try. Well, no, and I know in America you have to do that, or else you can't do it at all. Unless you have extremely rich parents. For me, I get a student loan, so I just get money in advance. I have to pay back over the rest of my life, which is better. It means I don't have to have a job now, because I would implode. Not my soul, just my entire being. I'd be working at my job, my godforsaken side job, and I would implode messily. You might think that implosion implies a certain neatness, because you think everything just goes into one smaller area, at least. But my implosion actually involves quite a lot of propelled bodily fluid. I'm sorry to be so graphic, but I think it's important to know these things. So I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I feel really fucking bad for them, because fuck that. I know some people with jobs as well, and also fuck that. Why are you doing it? You have a student loan. But to each their own, and to own their each. The funny answer to this question is that I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know how to talk to girls. That's funny to me, even. That's funny. If I find myself talking to a girl with ease, it's because I am just fucking flirting with them. So they have to be hot, sorry, in the first place. And that's a bit fucked up. And I don't know how to rectify the situation. I don't have friends that are girls. I talk to girls sometimes and think, you're kind of cool and I'd like to be your friend, maybe. But the thing about friendships is they really stress me out, because like real friendships, because it's just commitments, and you can't say no to things very often because you just seem like a dick and you don't keep your friends. I know low-key friendship is good. I like low-key friendship, but when it's a girl who's a friend, I just can't imagine being able to deal with that. So
So, unfortunately, I can't advise you on the situation. On here, people compare me to all kinds of just displeasing faces. Like that chick who was in The Grinch, who is now a grown-up, who looks like a fucking robot. Dakota Fanning. And just, it's a general, brings out the badness. And the bad feeling. I'm gonna have some cucumber to deal with this. Didn't think that would be in shot, but it was, so I'm not gonna have to confront it. Have a bite of cucumber. Oh yeah. Someone who I've been compared to, I like the comparison because it makes me feel good. They're after me again. Is Winona Ryder. I'd be very happy with that comparison. And I am when it happens. Eesh. Hello Elizabeth, I'm pleased to hear you have hands. Although slightly disappointed also. Thanks very much for the invitation by proxy. I'm gonna assume you don't mean it. But say thank you very much nonetheless. And it probably won't happen because it would be a bit weird. I believe in I before E except after C. But not God. Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. Put people into little categories.